Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight we have a great show planned for you. We have a lot of stuff to cover, so we're going to be extremely light on the news. I do want to discuss these goddamn false flags that's been jumping off briefly. So that's about all we're going to cover on the news tonight. It's going to be really quick because tonight's topic is the art of manifestation, how to get what you want. So with that said, I am going to bring on Brother Wendell. I know I saw him. There he is. Okay, here we go. Hey, Brother Wendell, how you doing?
I'm all right. Hell, I'm like a bucket of chitlins.
Why it's got to be chitlins tonight? I know damn well you don't eat no pork.
Because you know I'm a mess.
Now that is very accurate. Very accurate. Oh,
it's all good. Everybody better go get right now.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, good to hear your voice. I'll see if Brother Sean wants to come on. So real quick, I do have something to follow up from with the family. Also, we had guest Will Kapoor on right before I took the break. And the show went very well. I really liked that brother. All is well. I was going to link up with him. Let me bring on Brother Sean. Hold on a second, family. Okay, here we go. Hey, Brother Sean, how you doing? Uh-oh. Let me try this again. Okay, let's try this again. Brother Sean, are you there? Okay, I could have sworn that's you. I unmuted you. I'm not sure why it's not working.
Hello.
Okay, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, then. How you doing this evening?
I'm all right, yourself.
I'm good.
Brother Wendell, how you doing?
Uh-oh.
How you doing, brother?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, so I was getting into the topic. I did want to address, we had Brother Will on the show right before I went on break. I really liked Brother Will. All went well. I was going to link up with him because I did want to just check out his reading. Before our sister even got to that point, as soon as I got off the air, I was doing some research. I don't know how it ran down. And there was some type of video put out about him last year. He had a falling out with one of his good partners and another sister that he linked up with. And they, had a bunch of accusations against him about not really being able to read people spiritually, et cetera, this, that, and the third, and giving people ill will advice, all this, that, and the third. So I didn't think no more of it because that's just how stuff roll, people throw up YouTube videos dissing one another, especially nowadays, like it ain't shit. Literally every other day, you're going to at least hear about one once a week. So then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, another video came out by Ashay Kafour. And I'm like, oh, hell, now what's going on? So kind of the same flavor went on. Ashay was hearing some rumbles from folks about, Brother Will's teachings and that, he's not really doing spiritual readings properly. And he's giving folks ill advice, this, that, and the third, this, that. Now, Brother Kafour and Will, if I'm not mistaken, they were either linked up to do some type of seminar conference together, or they did do a conference. Well, I really liked Brother Will's personality, and then people were hitting me up, asking me had I heard about it. So, I had to do the right thing to follow up with the brother to see what's going on. So I reached out to him personally. First, I started with email because it was it wasn't late, but I'm old school. I don't call people after 9 o'clock. So I figured I would hit him up with email first to let him know I was going to follow up with him via phone call to discuss. So this is just a snippet of the email, and then I'll go into what we discussed. So, my email to him was, peace, brother. I just ran across this YouTube video regarding you. This is the second one that I found. The first one was last year. I saw both of these after your appearance on my show. Now, I truly avoid getting in others' business when there is beef, but since you were just on my show and discussed readings and consultations, I am very concerned. Brother, I don't know you personally, but I do want to say if what people are saying is true regarding your false readings, I ask that you stop. If you are walking with the ancestors and going among higher realms, you cannot do those things and operate with untruths. I would also like to say that we have a lot of people that are new to consciousness and just are coming out of religion. They may be extremely vulnerable, unknowledged, and easily influenced. If you are who you say you are and you walk among the ancestors and the higher realms, then you must always walk in truth. Each person that receives false information from you and it is false, you are responsible for them in the spiritual realm. And accountability comes with that. Now, if this is not true, what they are saying about you, please accept my apologies in advance. I have to be honest, it appears what they are saying is true because the stories are very similar from two different sources. But either way, whether I believe you or not, it is expected for you to address these issues publicly. In addition, if these allegations are true, brother, you have to make it right. Go public and apologize to the people you impacted and provide remedy. I will reach out to you via phone tomorrow. It is a little late, and I don't believe in calling folks after 9. Peace and love, Rhonda. And here is the latest video that was posted today. Okay, so Brother Will was very cool. He actually reached out to me right then and asked me to call him, which I did. And, he said that none of those allegations are true. I guess him and one of his partners, and I guess actually the guy appears on some of his videos, or did appear. I'm assuming he's not appearing in them now, who was in the background with him. And he actually called in on the show when Brother Will was on the show with me. So long story short, that brother fell out with Brother Will and was talking to O'Shea. So it's a whole big mess. He's saying it's not true. I did ask him, well, what about these folks that saying you are giving them false readings and you trying to tell them what to do with their relationships? And he said, no, that's not true. You know, people do get readings from me and they ask me about their relationship. And I tell them, do you really want to go down that route? And he's saying they did want to go down that route. So long story short, I asked him, what did he want the people to know? And he said, well, what I want people to know is that I never asked anybody to follow me. I always say for people to go within. And, you know, that folks can also go back to his videos or his lectures, rather, slash videos, and it will prove that he's never asked anyone to follow him. Now, here's my personal take on it. I think Brother Will is sincere in what he is saying when he and I talked. I really got, you know, that he was really up in turmoil about all of this stuff that is being said about him. But, you know, me personally, now this is just me personally, I think that he got in over his head when he started doing these readings. Now, just from my experience with just doing this show, I can sense when callers call in to this show and they are looking for someone to give them answers. Now, that's either way, either because they are unsure, they're scared, or they're trying to test me personally, or just they just plain lazy. You know, either way, I feel, now this is just me personally, that you play a dangerous game when you take on the responsibility of giving folks answers regarding self. So meaning giving them answers regarding them. You know, when you put yourself in the public eye, folks will build you up. It's all cool. But you better be real careful because they will real quick call you out when things aren't going accordingly. So, you know, in my opinion, you know, I think that anytime that you're doing stuff publicly, you have to be real clear on what your responsibility is and make it clear to your listeners, the family listeners, what their responsibility is. This is especially true when you are charging folks for any type of service. Now, our people, meaning the melanated people, they will check your ass quite quickly over their coins if they feel your services is not up to par. Okay, so, you know, that's my take on the Brother Will thing. I just think he's in way over his head with the readings. I think the brother is sincere, but he just needs to reevaluate his approach. And, you know, we talked about him just by all means making it right. And I kept stressing that truth is not messy. It's not messy. It doesn't have a bunch of controversy behind it, any of that. So if that is coming into, that's the type of energy you're drawing, then you need to take a step back and reevaluate self. And by all means, you have to make it clear to your audience what their responsibility is. So that's my take on it from the Brother Will side. Now, I do have to get on, just in general, our folk, meaning the melanated people, because this is not entirely Brother Will's fault. I say this every week on this show, those that are on Facebook, I say it all the time, that it is each person's responsibility to own self. No one can tell you about you but you. That includes readings, decoding dreams, etc. all they can do is kind of give you a hint what they think that may mean. But ultimately, you are supposed to be going within to decode and get these answers. So my take on it, it's all fine to participate in readings and all of that. But again, know that the person that's providing you this information cannot tell you truth about you. It's impossible. Okay? No one is the Messiah over you, the son of this, the son of that over you. The answers are within you. No one is coming to save you. You are your savior. If you are looking for something outside of yourself, you are wasting your time. And you will always be back to square one and repeating the same lessons of someone else, quote, quote, leading you wrong or lying to you. Be responsible for self. Use discernment, study, and go within. Okay, so I'm going to pause there in case somebody wants to put something on it, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, basically, people participate in the rituals. If you're not spiritually grounded and know what you're doing,
yes,
the negative energies that they're trying to remove can latch on to you. I mean,
that's a very good
it's
point.
not an area just anybody should be
jump into. I totally agree, and I'm glad that you brought that up because, you know, one of the things that I learned, you know, as I started going on the really the spiritual metaphysics side and wanting to learn about rituals and all of that, is that you have to be careful with, quote, quote, these deities, okay? And so, first of all, let's start with these supposed deities. They lived thousands or millions of years ago, okay? So their time of rule was within their time. So we are not supposed to be worshiping them per se or putting them up on a pedestal above you. I see people kind of fall into that kind of thing as well, and I think that plays a dangerous game because you don't really know who or what you're calling out to, and essentially you're placing yourself under another quote, quote, God, okay? So if you are going to dabble on that side of rituals, altars, etc., you need to study. You need to study and know what it is for yourself. And by all means, you're supposed to be writing your own motherfucking spells. You're supposed to be creating your own motherfucking altars. And if you're going to call upon somebody, you call upon your ancestors. You call upon your ancestors that are no longer in this realm, grandma and them. That's who the fuck you supposed to be calling upon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it makes me really, really nervous when folks want people to write spells for them or, you know, do an altar for me. No, that's supposed to come within you. You're supposed to put your energy in those things. And if you're not comfortable with that, then that means it's not the time for you to be doing that. That's what that means. So, but very good point, Brother Sean. Very, very good point. Okay. Before I had a video that I wanted to play because Brother Panic, he just went on about this. He put out a great video on how to save the black race, and it kind of goes into our mentality on save the people, let's come together, etc. So before we play that, because I know We're going to go in a little bit on that. I just want to real quick, Brother Sean, touch on, we had 2 events this week. One of them, they dropped the Moab bomb, which was nothing but a big ass ritual. And then recently, I know everybody's heard about the Facebook Live shooting / killing, which was another quote ritual because it was performed on Easter Sunday. Okay, and all melanated energy, and folks are still talking about it, debating about it, whether it was true, whether it was not true, this, that, and the third. So, again, my take on it is, we've talked about this several times on this show. First of all, when folks say that something is a false flag, that does not mean people didn't die. What we're saying, those are planned events. Now, me personally, anytime any of these stories come on to play, I just sit back and watch. Because if you know what you're looking at, you know how the shit is going to end. So soon, as this shit came out, I'm like, okay, so they telling me they couldn't track him down. Oh, okay. But he had cell phones. He making motherfucking tapes or recording himself via cell phone. They couldn't track him down. Okay, yeah, whatever. Then the other thing, I already knew they're not going to catch him alive. Either they going to gun him the fuck down or he going to kill himself. Sure enough, what happened? That's exactly what happened. He wound up killing himself. So I'm saying all that to say, these things that they keep putting before us that get these headline news attractions are distractions. They're rituals / distractions. Okay, so, that's just how I feel about it. I wanted to bring it up because I see people on Facebook just hot. Oh, you people are stupid. This is all, you always thinking it's a conspiracy, woo, woo, woo. And all I'm thinking to myself, why are people putting so much energy in this? This is exactly what the fuck they want you to do. Put all this energy into whatever they tell you to put the energy into. So I'll pause in case either one of you want to put something on it.
Well, everything these jokers do is nothing but a conspiracy. If you really want to tell the truth about it, they conspire to do everything they do.
True that.
And whether these people out here don't recognize it or not, all they got to do is take a look around. Everything they do is based on some type of conspiracy. They conspire to do everything that they do.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's like we've stated on the show before. They're deities that feed off of fear. They feed off of confusion. It's all that energy. And this one guy had a whole state in fear where people were actually scared to come out the house. I mean, people who are quote unquote real killers were scared to come out the house. All because the media said that it was this live shooter on the loose. I mean, people getting shot every day. Ain't it live shooters on the loose all day, every day?
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the same time, there was a couple here in Cleveland that got shot inside their car dealership, and 2 vehicles got stolen. And now there's big hoopla here about how come that story didn't get any coverage. And incidentally, that couple was Caucasian.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting because they would have definitely put that as a story, white people getting, that's very, very interesting. So that's a clear sign right there within itself that it was a staged event because that knocked Yeah, okay, well, whatever. And then on top of that, I saw where this brother had posted that he had heard on NPR news or radio rather that as everybody was up in arms about the Facebook shooting or whatever, that Russia has been sending fighter jets right along Alaska. So they're playing war games right on the border of the United States. But that didn't get no airplay. And then they still, it just got airplay today. I saw it on Yahoo News because they did the shit again. So I'm saying all this to say, family, and of course, what folks choose to spend their energy on is certainly their business. But, just beware of the game that media plays, because it's all really a stage play. That's all the fuck it is. I would say 99% of all of the shootings that they put in the media, the Mike Browns, Columbine, I would say all that shit is staged. Every last bit of it. So, that's just my take on it. Start doing a little research on your own. There's been people that put out a lot of good work, a lot of credible work on Facebook. You could start, not Facebook, on YouTube. You could start researching all of these staged events. They have broken them down, and then you'll start to see the same patterns. The same exact patterns. The shit is so deep, they even run ads for actors for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the lawsuit that's coming from a situation like that? I think it was in California where the guy, his gun was supposed to have blanks in it, and he wound up actually shooting and killing the woman. She was playing a cop.
Really? You mean on the Hollywood set?
No, this was a staged false flag event, and he wound up having a loaded gun, and they charging him, and the police sergeant or whatever that gave him the gun, they charging him with a misdemeanor because he gave the guy a loaded gun.
Now that's interesting, but the guy is saying he's not trying to hear that because he has signed up to participate in this, because I think they call them drills, if I'm not mistaken. And this drill and the gun that they gave him was loaded.
Mm-hmm. And he wound up killing the woman.
Okay.
See,
all right.
See,
go ahead on
See, that go a conspiracy right there. They planned on killing her all along.
Mm-hmm.
Under the auspices of a drill. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's conspiracy right there. It's just an unwritten conspiracy. You just have to be able to see what it is.
Right.
But that reminds me of like with Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son. He died in a situation like that. It was supposed to have been a prop in the gun.
Right. Yeah. It sure is. He sure did. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, family. So just do your own research, and you will never watch news the same. You'll never look at the celebrities, this Hollywood shit the same. Everything is a stage play. Everything is planned. So, and it's all planned to capture your attention, to get your energy, to get your emotions. So that's all I have to say. So let me bring, we have 661 has a question. So let me bring 661 on right quick. 661, your line is open.
Hey, family. This is Sandra.
Hey, sis, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Belated happy birthday to you, too, or Earth Day.
Oh, thank you, love.
Yeah. I wanted to comment on some of these things of false flags and things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things they also do when you pay attention to it, you're easier to control to get them to have their agenda to take your freedom away is one of the things. And this stuff they're doing right now, if you notice, there's all melanated people they're using. On that Moab or the mother of all bombs type stuff, they use two melanated guys to sit next to Mr. And they up there grinning like they're crazy, but you know he's using them to, like he's giving them the authority to do it, when it was actually a European who has the authority to do it. And Moab, of course, you know, is Lot's ancestry.
Exactly. And who are against who? The Israelites, right?
Exactly. Well, you know, Israel, or as you say, those that are not Israel, is they're using that to put us out there as terrorists in this arena that they're playing, and they're using say here in California, up in Fresno, this guy shot 3 Europeans, and now they're trying to put the same shooting system, you know, where they can hear shots fired in other cities, because now that, you know, people are going to be monitored for everything they do, because that's what giving up your authority is all about. We have to be careful that they're doing these things to us, because it is their agenda to take over everything. And the Moors was Moab, and they were supposed to be coming up, Judah is supposed to be coming up this year, and they're trying to start these wars, the World War III, racial wars, all kinds of wars, so that we can't arise as a people. They did it in 1917. They started that war just so they don't have to pay their debts. And so they don't want us to rise and be people, so they keep putting us out there as the ones who did this and did that and did this. So I would caution us as a people to don't fall prey to anger, and don't let these your buttons, because the European is going to be the European whether you kill 1, 2, or 3 of them. They're still going to be Europeans. You're just going to, you know, maybe kill 1 or 2 or 3, and that's no excuse for being ignorant. You can't do that. That's not good. That's not good for our people as a whole. It may, you know, quench your taste, because the guy said something about he wasn't going down for one murder. He was going to take somebody with him, the one over here in Fresno. And I'm like, that does not really make good sense, because you're hurting your people. Us as a whole, don't do that. Don't let the European use you like that. And that's all I wanted to say on that.
Okay. Well, thanks, sis. I'm going to leave your mic open so you could put something in when you feel like it. But, you know, as sis was talking, it also made me, on a spiritual level, what I feel that is happening, it is to control that melanated energy, okay? Because our sense of time, the way it was taught to us, we should all know, everybody in this forum anyhow, should all know that is not the proper time. We really supposed to be calculating, quote, time by ages, okay? So the age of rule is over for the energy that put the European in power, because I'm not going to put it solely on the European. Yeah, they played their part in it, but you best believe that it was the melanated force behind that European power, because nothing moves on this motherfucking planet without melanin energy. So let's start with that. But either way it goes, we are coming out of the age where that particular energy, it is no more. So what better way than to try to control the melanin energy to keep the same shit or vibration going? Okay, it's not going to work. It's really not working, but that is what essentially is happening. So now this is just Rhonda's little lowly opinion right here. What I feel is happening, those that are stuck into everything that they put out there, you know, this is the way it is, whatever they say is gospel, you're just continuing to allow that same energy, them same deities, those same demigods to feed off of you. That's what this is all about, to feed off of folk energy. Because at the end of the day, everything is energy and vibration. Your emotions are energy and vibration. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry. Go ahead on, brother.
Exactly.
I mean, if you think about it, that's what they're doing. Look at the names, like you said, Moab, to destroy ISIS. They're invoking ancient energy.
Yeah.
And putting it right in our face. And also, if you look at it, like they say, Moab and ISIS, that's the divide between the man and the woman.
Yeah,
that's that
true
battle.
that.
That's the desecration of the divine feminine.
True that.
But they didn't flip the roles, and once again, they're demonizing the divine feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the dirty Moors, the Moab bomb, got to destroy the woman, got to destroy the divine feminine energy. It's symbolic.
Right. That's true.
It's a ritual.
It is a ritual because we are coming out of the patriarch society and moving into the matriarch. Now, let's make this clear. That does not mean that all men ain't shit, all melanated men ain't shit. That is not what this is about. We are talking about the dirty set of folks, melanated men, or we call them dirty Moors. And let's be clear, you got some sisters, melanated sisters, that support that bullshit. Let's be real clear, okay? So this ain't about no woman against man. This is about energy, okay? And the changing of the age, coming out of a patriarchic rule, going back into a matriarchic rule. And those particular entities, deities, energies don't want to relinquish that power. It's not going to work, but that is ultimately what is going on. So totally agree with the both of you. Totally agree. Okay, so we're going to move on now. What I want to play right quick, Brother Panic, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with him. He cracks me up personally. He is really heavy into metaphysics, and he truly studied under Bobby Hemmett, and Bobby Hemmett actually passed him the torch. So he put out a video, and this was so timely. And I'm not sure, Brother Sean, if you sent this to me, but it's called How to Save the Black Race. Now, anybody that know Brother Panic, he put that shit raw. He don't play. He don't mince no words. In this particular video, he's going to go over all of this shit about folks in the melanated community, quote, quote, / conscious community, going back and forth with each other. It's a very, very powerful video. And it also folds into what we were talking about earlier with following behind anybody. And we really need to put things into perspective. So I'm going to play the first part of this. But before I do that, does anybody want to put anything else on something? Let me see. This first part is, I think, like 15 minutes. Okay. No, it's a little longer than that. But okay, let me put this on and then we'll be right back. This is Brother Panic, and the title of the video literally is How to Save Black People. So we're going to play this part one. We're going to come back, chop it up, and then we're going to keep it moving and get into what we really should be doing. Going within self and manifestation. So here we go.
He's beating your ass with your stick. He took the stick out your hand, beating your ass with a stick. You're not even defending yourself. You telling them how great you used to be. But we're the first man. But the black woman is God. But we're the ones who figured out alkaline water. We're organic. We're doing all this bullshit, talking about all this goddamn ridiculous shit, while you beating you with a stick. Your stick is called magic, nigga. Pick it up. I've been selling them and giving them away for free for close to 10 years now. It's simple. You cannot fill a full cup. You deep niggas, cups are full. You need to admit you don't know shit to begin to know shit. You need to admit you don't know shit to begin to know shit. You're in the sunken place. Look here, niggas. You have to retake your mind. I notice how so-called deep niggas who's supposed to be about their science are actually screaming and yelling the white man's name more than his woman screams when he's fucking her, actually. Or actually more than the little boy or whatever thing he's fucking is screaming his name. Niggas are screaming that shit more than that. You gotta get them off your mind. You ever notice the things you ignore go away? And I know it seems like a big deal, but did you realize the only occult science, secret society science, magic that the white man is actually doing to you is just keeping you distracted? He's just keeping you, that's it. That's the sum total of it. Everything he has that's in the secret society that the average Joe doesn't know is just intellectual bullshit and devoid of the spiritual aspect. He cannot access the great feminine. Not only does he hate women, he's taught you to hate women, and the way to access spirituality is through the divine feminine. They hate their women. They only raise up white women as the object of beauty, not because they revere her, because it's a weapon against the true iconic be-all to end all beauty in existence. The black woman. Like that shit. That's right, nigga. Nigga. The black woman. Who's playing you? The key to our resurrection, the key to our transformation, the retaking of whatever the fuck it is you niggas is trying to retake and call your own, begins with your mind. You need to resurrect your mind. You need to first learn what it is and how it works. The name of the game, I'm so comedic, is know thyself. And what you really see is a bunch of people who know, quite frankly, don't know shit. I'm seeing everyone's interpretation, and it's not like I'm looking for the great interpretation because I get it. Everyone sees things the way they see things. And no one man or person, myself very much included, cannot see everything. But if you're going to sit in front of a fucking YouTube camera and pretend to teach black people, at least pretend fucking better. You understand? At least know what you even getting at. And then get at it. You know what I'm saying? And then get at it. You're watching, see, when I notice everyone has a breakdown when it's a dumb fucking movie. When I see complicated shit, you know what I'm saying? Let's say some shit that can really be decoded, like Inception, which is one thing I did, and there are many others that I don't even waste my time. You know what I'm saying? I showed you niggas metaphysical interpretations of goddamn Wizard of Oz. I could do Willy Wonka in Chronicles of Riddick, where I show you metaphysics, not just how I feel in my interpretations of a breakdown. I remember somebody tried to break down the movie Beloved with Oprah. You understand? Shit goes too far with niggas sometimes. Shit go way too far. Way too far. Know what I'm saying? Way too far. And this is because you need to know, you need to really spend some time shut off from talking and think you know and fucking go study. I made tapes in 2004, 5, and I looked at them and said, there's a bunch of mumbo jumbo of a nigga talking out his ass. Now, I sounded on the tapes motherfucking electrifying. I knew how to say this. I knew how to do this. I knew how to look like this. When I listened. Yeah, nigga, kick that shit. I know how to do all the fucking deep nigga moves. The problem was I was not a deep nigga. You know what I'm saying? But see, I'm also not a stupid nigga. So instead of just because I had the opportunity and the motherfucking means, and this is before YouTube, nigga. This is before the internet. I let that go. Let that go. I was sitting in those tapes early on with Bobby Hemmett. I could have still, but most people tried to work their lives to do an opening or sit with Bobby Hemmett so they can have a career. Not I. I said, I look like an asshole. An asshole. And then I studied my ass off. There was no online, there was MySpace at the time. I rocked and rocked and rocked. Every book, especially because Bobby Hemmett was known for giving out scholarship. And while I'm here, let me say this to you from message from Bobby Hemmett. No, not a new message, but a message from his lectures. He always said this, and y'all niggas need to hear this again in case y'all missed it, sifting through all the hours that you have. If the person before you is repeating from a book, make sure they give you the fucking book. You understand? What you hear from me comes from discoveries of my divine mind. And if I'm repeating from a book, I'll give you that book. If I'm talking from a study, of a long-term study, which I am right now in this moment, then this is coming from my understanding of many books, many studies, many reads, many meditations. So this, what you're hearing is an understanding. When you hear a nigga just saying 3/4 and this and that, and this goes up your back at a rate of 3 ratio, he's repeating from a fucking book. He is. So and when you go, ooh, that was deep, you're a fucking follower and you're a church member. You should demand that motherfucker tell you what book he read it from. He said, that was excellent information. How did you find that? How did you get that? So let them say a book, or this shit is channels, or I went into my genetic memory banks, I got it from Akasha. Make them tell you where they got it from. How about that? And that's how we sort out who should be teaching you and who should just be giving you the groovy books that they read. Because I'm going to assume, no matter how many times I call you niggas slow, you motherfuckers at least can read. And as long as you can read, not a damn motherfucker can control you on the planet, especially with this information. I urge you niggas to ask those who you find entertaining or those who you find so fucking profound, where's this coming from, player? And if they say the divine mind, you bow and say thank you for what you're giving, because you will never get this anywhere else. Because your divine mind rules all. Oh, wait a minute. Your divine mind is all. You understand? This game begins and ends with your mind. And the name of the motherfucking sport, the motherfucking race, is called light. You understand? Without light or limited light, nigga, you will be abused. Abused. And for the most part, most of you niggas are. Most of you niggas are. You should be working for no other reason. You should not be working to save the black race. You need to save your black ass. You shouldn't be working to save the black babies. You should be more interested in saving your fucking grown-up ass. You will not save masses of niggas. You niggas cannot even agree on which kind of Kool-Aid goes with what kind of fucking fish. You niggas cannot agree what meat should be on the grill at the cookout. Nevertheless, raise up a whole fucking country of niggas to go, yeah, that shit's true though. Yeah. Imagine a whole country of niggas. Yeah, nigga, you got that right. Goddamn, nigga, I couldn't wait till you got here, nigga, to save us. Nigga, listen. You make a choice. You work for humanity or you work for your higher self. And I hate to say higher self because it's so bitch ass. You either God or you fucking man. And man is nothing to be proud of. Nothing. The best thing a man can be is a human, a light man, to be called human. And that's scraping the floor, son. Scraping the floor. You gotta work, player. You gotta work, player. See you at the top, baby. Let me keep on. I wrote some notes of the things I don't want to forget before we get to this. Before we get to the get out. Your power and your science. I hear people talking about the white man got our power, we got our science. So basically, hidden culture or the occult means it should be hidden. So we shouldn't be talking about this. This is a secret. Nigga, that is the most fucking white man tell you nonsense repeated. I don't like the white man shit I've heard since I've been in the game. Let me say it slower. The most white man nonsense, black man repeated. I don't remember what I said, but it's the most white man created nonsense, black man repeated, misunderstood, understanding, hustle that I've heard since I've been in the game. Meaning, they're telling you that bullshit, but they're not telling you the real meaning. Don't get confused with secret societies as occult groups. They are groups with hidden knowledge. And what they have in that group is hidden. And the next group, what they have in that group is hidden from that fucking group, unless you're in the group. This group knowledge that white people have is not what they were doing as true occultists. The true occult science, here it is. It has to do with light and melanin. I'm going to hit you to a occult phrase that you've heard most likely all your life. It is called hidden in plain sight. You're in that sunken place right now. Hidden in plain sight. That means the true hidden culture is, in fact, that's what you're doing when you decode a movie, or so-called decode a movie that you think you're doing. The movie is in plain sight, but you are going in to bring out what's hidden in plain sight. But those who can't, the story didn't change. Those who can't see it will never see it. Now, when you talk, unlike a movie, about what we call the occult, what I've been doing, what Bobby's been doing, and others that I assume have been doing, it is still hidden in plain sight. For those who haven't initiated themselves into this level of light, is hidden. I cannot begin to tell you, and some of you out there will bear witness to this. How many times, Panic, I listened to you, I used to turn you off, used to burn my ears, I used to say, fuck this nigga ain't, it's crazy nigga, he cursed too much, he this. But one time, I listened to something, and I can't stop listening. I can hear it now. I started reading this, then I went back, and I don't even hear the cursing, I don't even hear it. I mean, I could write a fucking Roots Part 3 of all the niggers over the years who wrote hate letters, then wrote love letters after they came into this level of consciousness, dogettes. You understand? And it's not me, it's them. I'm speaking to the best of my occult understanding, the best of my spiritual prowess, the best of my reflection of true self, true realization that I receive over putting in true spiritual work. I'm never off duty with this, dog. I'm never off duty. This is real. This is everything real. My house is built based upon this realism, and this is a mini mansion we live in here. My woman she could put your ass in the sunken place for real. For real. This is not something we playing with and make it look fancy. This is a long-term thing. My pops was into this. My grandfather was deep into this shit. Half the shit that I hear y'all niggas ranting about, my grandparents was ranting about. Y'all just doing it on YouTube. And really not my grandparents, but grandparents that age ranting about the white man. Because they was sweeping all day as a janitor. They come home, hearing that white man and the cracker doing this shit. And that motherfucking the hunky. Y'all sound just like them disgruntled motherfuckers. Didn't move anywhere in science. And then didn't physically move anywhere as a human neither. Just got good new Samsungs and shit, but the same ass disgruntled arguing. You just got a forum to do it where people click on the shit, based on who rants the best, based upon who rants the best. You understand? Who's the most interested at saying the white man did it? Look at him again, that fucking beast. I hate him. I just hate him. He makes me want to cry. You're in that sunken place. So, hidden in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight. The true occultist, the true magician knows, no matter what I say. Here's another phrase from that. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So that means I could be saying the greatest occult shit on the planet, and it is still hidden. It is still occult. until that student is able to hear that light. And then that means he's initiated. And that's how secret societies, which are later day shit, mimicked that process, which was self-initiation. That was, because 10 people come to the secret society and say, I want in. What do they do to judge if you're worthy? Well, today, all you have to do is pay the dues. That's number one. So let's say back then when it meant something, and I can't even co-sign these niggas was doing this shit back then. I don't really know. It sounds fucking left. Because what I heard many things from our master teachers about these fucking groups and societies. The first thing I heard was to become a 33rd degree Mason, you got to suck a dick in the white Mason groups. That's what I heard. That's number one, which ain't no information worth that, goddamn. Ain't no information that fucking valuable to me. Okay? Now, the other thing I heard was that pretty much the adept masters knew this beast was crawling around the earth and created a system for him to at least raise himself up to an upright man. And an upright man just meant a motherfucker who was standing on his 2 fucking feet. This nigga was crawling around. So when they had the ability to become or the need or the idea to become an upright man, they were able to join these so-called societies. And my thought on that would be that you can judge who was able to be let into it, the mere fact, because only the best of white man, if there is such a thing, would walk and even have an interest in it. You understand what I'm saying? The 99.9999% of the motherfuckers would still be interested in Friday night shit fights between each other, shit wrestling between each other. You feel me? So the 1% that was able to crawl out the cave and say, I want to be an upright man. Help me, Mr. Negro, niggas, naga. And we said, fuck it, you in. And just taught him some limited bullshit. But clearly limited bullshit that they was able to fucking run with. And then you got later day Negroes joining back up with this. Now, even better, the information that they did have, I was told by Dr. Aline, was still very informative, especially after you come out of the slavery Holocaust. So, Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad went through this along with the Rosicrucian mysteries. You understand? And this is when the information was still doing something. And from that, knowing that black people could not handle the level of information just being dispensed to them, they said, we're going to do something better. We're going to start warming their minds up. So Noble Drew Ali created the Moors, and of course, Elijah Muhammad, the Black Islam. But when you read, and I'm sure Noble Drew Ali, I'm not guessing, because later day when I seen that photo broken down, and it was being broken down like, you know, forget all that. I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I had no fucking clue. Let me start talking to this nigga in the spirit world. I just left it alone. And when I contacted Noble Drew Ali, I went to Philly on a ritual, and he told me to come there. When I started talking to him, that nigga said he's so advanced. He hates to be deified and pulled down by that name on planet Earth, if you really want to. But see, usually these revelations I leave to myself because these niggas are so in love with these guys that you say something, you talking about it. I don't want that on my plate. I'd rather keep it to myself because I have no ego to say, ooh, guess what I found out? Nigga, I find out anytime, anything, and I want. I've reached that level of occult science. And I know I look normal because I'm hidden in plain sight. You understand? The level of light I'm dealing with, I already made it to the mountaintop. I see.
All right, family. So that was just a snippet from Brother Panic's video, How to Save Black People. So you can, I encourage you to go listen to the whole thing. It was really a good video. I think he did a very, very good job on it, just reminding us that, you have to go within yourself, worry about your goddamn self, basically. Stop deflecting, saying, let's save this one, let's save that one. Worry about yourself. Work on self. So, thank you, Brother Panic, for putting that out. I think it's a very timely video, especially with all of the shenanigans going on. So I appreciate that. Okay, so before I go in and to keep it moving, does anybody want to put something on that? We're going to keep it moving.
Well,
okay.
Basically
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
The only thing I wanted to put on it was, like you said, it basically tied off into everything that we discussed earlier. I mean, that about giving away your energy. And then, considering he brought up Bobby had put a video out about loving death. I mean, if we're supposed to be gods, why are we worried about dying? Energy can be created or destroyed.
Destroyed, right.
It's something that we're supposed to. It's something we're supposed to embrace. I mean, as long as we have some type of fear in us, they feed off of us. They got us trapped. They're the ones that created the whole concept of death that we know today. Because for all the Hoteppers or those that are supposed to be studying ancient Kemet, I mean, the Book of the Dead, they embraced death. And most people nowadays have it totally backwards. Death is nothing we're supposed to fear.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that, because it's almost like I'm even seeing a clear, distinct split in the quote conscious community, where you're seeing the one side, talking on the conspiracies and, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. And oh, by the way, donate to my shit, take my class, do blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, it's all on the physical. Okay, it's still like getting into the true self side of the house, the spirituality side of the house. You have other folks that are truly about that's, encouraging people, pick up the motherfucking books yourself, go look at the videos yourself, go within, use discernment. I'm seeing a clear split among the 5%, because we've talked about this before, the 5% of the people that, quote, know this information. I'm even seeing a split with that 5%. And you have one group focusing on the physical side, whether it be the Egyptian side, or we're going to rise to do this, and that. But still, it's not about going within self. If we're going to do this, but follow what I'm telling you or what I'm putting out. And again, the battle, if you want to say it's a battle, is on the spiritual side. And the battle is your battle for you. How the fuck you gonna save somebody if you can't save yourself? It starts with self. And I'm seeing a clear line divided for the people's attention, and when you know it's for the people's attention, you know it is for the people's energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very good point, brother. That's a very good point. I think even Brother Young Pharaoh put out a video about people stunting and fronting, and it was all just to take people's energy.
Mm-hmm. Because he's doing a lot of regurgitating of information. He ain't tapped into those spirit realm.
Now, I do have to say, I like that brother just for the simple fact, number one, he's younger, and he's about as close for his age genre that even touches on that spiritual side. For the most part, everybody else is going to the left. It's all about the physical. It's all about burying people in some paperwork. Let's do a lecture here. Let's build, blah, 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 blah. At least he does go into the sciences. So I have all respect to him because I have seen a few of his videos, and I've featured a couple of them here where he goes on in the science side. Now, whether he regurgitates it or not, I do give that brother respect for that. I do have to give respect where respect is due. Because we're, for the most part, in the quote-unquote conscious community, it's not about the science anymore. It's all about the physical, and now it's so fucking disgusting. It's folks throwing up YouTube videos talking about people like a dog. And, whatever. If that's what folks want to do, that's fine. But I am just telling you the science behind it. It's what you concentrate your energy on, and at the end of the day, you're responsible for you. That's just the bottom line. So, okay, so we're gonna get into the topic manifestation tonight. So I just wanted to, as I was doing the research for this show, The Art of Manifestation, Getting What You Want, I always kind of start with the definitions because once again, as you start studying the science behind things, you start studying the words, the etymology, you start to see the spells or in words. You also start to see how stuff is, as Brother Panic said, hidden in plain sight. So I looked up, I always start with just a simple definition. What do they say the definition of manifestation is? Okay, so as a adjective, this is the definition of manifestation. Clear or obvious to clear or obvious to the eye or mind. And so some of the synonyms that are for manifestation is obvious, clear, plain, apparent, evident, undisguised, unmistakable, visible, recognizable. So I found that just fascinating, that is the adjective of manifestation. Okay, so the verb for manifestation: display or show a quality or feeling by one's act or appearance, demonstrate. So the verb synonym for manifestation is to display, show, exhibit, demonstrate. They even put betray in there, which I found interesting. Betray, present, reveal, and so they used as an example, she manifested signs of depression. Okay, so I only bring those definitions into play, family, when we're dealing with manifestation, because whether we know it or not, and we're going to get deep into this as I, throw a couple of videos in here to give you other folks' view on manifestation, and we get a little deeper into it. Bottom line is, every day, every second, you are creating your reality. You are manifesting your reality. Okay? And we'll get a little deeper into how you're doing that and how you are supposed to be in control of what you manifest. Be aware, be conscious of what you are manifesting, and to create your own reality. And we're even going to get into how do you do that. All right, but I do want you to remember the definition of manifestation: clear or obvious to the eye or mind. The verb, display or show by one's acts or appearance. Demonstrate. Okay. So before I get into the next one, did any of you want to put any thoughts on what your definition of manifestation is?
I want to comment on what I see in that definition.
Absolutely. I know you excellent with breaking down the etymology, Brother Wendell.
If you look at that word real carefully, you're going to see two things. You're going to see infestation and demon.
Now that's interesting.
It's right there in the definition.
I saw the infestation, but the demon part, very interesting.
Then it say demonstrate. What's the root word of demonstrate?
Demon. Yep.
All right. You can take it and do what you want to with it, but that's how I study.
Yep, that makes sense. Absolutely.
So you have to be real. I've always said, you heard me say this all the time, these words and these names is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to have an understanding that the information that we get is 3, 4, and 5, and 6-handed. So it ain't gonna be what you think it is all the time. You have to really look at it, and you have to actually come from within in order to look at it. Yeah,
you do. You do. Absolutely. Very, very good point. Okay.
But see, that also ties into fear. I mean, trying to manifest things, if you're dealing in fear, you're going to bring quote-unquote demons or lower vibrational things into you.
Yeah.
You have to be strong enough to be able to deflect things.
Yeah.
So that's why it's something that just anybody shouldn't be getting off into.
There
the word manifest, man-I-fest. Man is the demon. We're the soul. We're not the physical body. The physical body is our imprisonment. And that's why all these tragedies are happening, to try and wake people up to, quote-unquote, get to your higher self, to get yourself up out of here. It's not that somebody else is doing it to us, this, that, or the other. It's our thoughts. It's us functioning through fear and at a low vibration. So we bring these demons and everything into creation. We put our energy into it. We're the creators. We give our energy to things. Someone else creates it. I mean, that's just like with actors. People think that you have to be a big-time actor or whatever to a soldier's soul. You're bringing to life creations that somebody else made, characters, mindsets, this, that somebody else created, and you bring that to life.
Yep. Go ahead on, sis. Very good, Brother Sean.
I want to hit on something I heard. Is that, well, first of all, I know that we live in holograms. And
can you just explain to the family that's not familiar, what do you mean by we live in a hologram?
A projection.
I know some of the Go ahead.
Using a light source, the bending of the corneas of the eyes, that we see stars that are really not there. We see planets that are really not there because the way they reflect light off of objects to make it appear to be so. When I was listening to them talk about the pineal gland, and after age, I think they said 5, this is where our manifestation of what is real changes, because the pineal gland in children are still able to see, or the children are able to see the ancestors, the spirit world as it really is, and because they have this dimethylphenone, something chemical in the brain that allows them to see what we can't see. And so as we get older, our pineal gland, they say, calcifies. And they're doing a lot of studies on this to figure out what happens to us as we age and how to keep the pineal gland working. And in the conscious community, they always trying to tell us to use our pineal gland, for the melanin, And a lot of these women are the young women are being abducted in the East, and they're probably doing pineal gland studies on them to see why we can still see spiritually and they can't. So when we get old, we focus more on what they show us on the TV, which is illusional. It's like a chair, which is not a chair, because the molecules are spaced apart. But because we have lived in this third dimension so long, we assume that once we sit down in the chair, it's a chair. But it's really not, because how can the molecules hold you when they're spaced so far apart? But they do. So we're living in a projected world like the Matrix. And we lost the real world as we get older and our pineal gland function decreases. So manifestation, what is it? Is it the hologram, or was before we lost our functioning as a child? And I just wanted to bring that part of the equation out. If you're talking about manifestations, what is real?
That is an excellent point, because you brought up a couple of things. I'm glad you brought in the hologram. And every time I hear people say this is all a dream anyway, to me, essentially, that is kind of almost what they're referring to. And when Sis speaks on that we've lost that part of our pineal gland, what she's actually, or pineal gland, what she's actually referring to is looking on that spiritual side, which is really the true side, and quite frankly, where the true power is. That's where you came from. That is the essence. That is the source. So that very, very good point, Sis. Very, very good point. Okay,
I want to say something. I'm glad she brought up something about the children and why they can still see things that the adults can't see.
Mm-hmm.
They, at that particular point, have still not been corrupted.
Mm-hmm. Indoctrinated.
See, they haven't gotten plugged into the matrix yet. They are still pure. They haven't been corrupted. Now, once the adults get to a certain level that they've been plugged into the matrix, in other words, just like a computer being plugged into the internet, we done got the virus. In other words, we've gotten corrupted. Now, the only way to fix that is to have somebody to clean your machine off, or you just get you a new hard drive. And I think if we can get on that level of thinking, we just may be able to get to some of these people out here. But the first thing we had to do, we had to get ourselves out of it.
Right, and
it's a process.
you know,
it's a process.
I agree with you. It's one brother. I can't remember that brother's name. Damn, it'll come to me. I think it's Morpheus Ale. He even put out a book, but his whole philosophy is the mind essentially is like a computer program, and he talked throughout this book on you're supposed to be programming your mind. Real interesting book. Matter of fact, I don't even see that brother anymore. He used to do lectures and stuff, or shows, actually, if I'm not mistaken, on Blog Talk Radio, and he used to be on Facebook. But he has some badass metaphysics, scientific information, and I love the way he talked about the mind itself as being a computer program, and basically you are the author or designer or computer programmer of your mind. Okay, and the baddest thing that he talked about in that particular book was that, you know, your thoughts create. You know, most of us already know this. If you don't, your thoughts create. And so when you are putting your thoughts out there, number one, that is a vibration within itself. Okay. And so you are creating what you want at that point. So the point of his book was that you have to program and train your mind. Let's say, for example, if you are putting out a negative thought that you don't want. So let's say, for example, you say, I don't have no money, I'm broke. Okay, that's the goddamn vibration you put out. Guess what? You ain't going to have no money, you're going to continue to be broke. But what I like what he said in his book, that as you're reprogramming your mind, every time that thought occurs, you are supposed to split second, reverse it. So instead of saying, I don't have no money, I'm broke, you're supposed to be saying, oh, wait a minute, no, I have everything I need. I am wealthy. I have abundance. And his point being that it's scientifically proven that if you do something past 30 days, you are programming yourself. When you get into the 90-day mark of doing something consistently, that programming, quote, quote, consistently sticks. So that's a very good point that you brought up, Brother Wendell, about programming, about how the mind works, what we're supposed to be doing. Now, me again, now this is just Rhonda. This is just Rhonda's opinion. I am not going to try to convince anybody to do a motherfucking thing. I am going to put out the information the best way Rhonda can, the way Rhonda feels at times, what Rhonda has researched, etc. It is up to the family to take it or not take it. It really doesn't matter, but it is up to self. It's not up to a system. It's not up to a collective of people. It is up to self. Start with self-programming. Reprogram your own shit. Because what I can create may not be what the fuck you want to create. You create your own world. So this is Rhonda's philosophy. I am not here to raise up no motherfucking nation, none of that. I've explored that. The shit don't work. It's about self.
Exactly.
Okay. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead on, brother.
Well, based upon that, it seemed like instead of manifestation, a better definition or phrase for it would be laws of attraction. Because you're attracting to yourself.
We're going to get into that. Absolutely. Because really that's what it is. Actually, in general, everything works on the law of attraction. And that's the shit they don't want you to know rather. And a very good point, because I had that in my notes to discuss, that manifestation is really the laws of attraction. Now I'm going to take y'all back to some shit. Remember when Oprah came out with that laws of attraction shit? And she put out this video called The Secret, and she totally changed her platform to go into laws of attraction, getting what you want, this, that, and the other. Now, you know, she was getting on the cusp of getting into deep metaphysics. As soon as she started just dipping her toe in it, because it was just the introduction into laws of attraction, trust and believe, that's when all hell broke loose. She started getting all this criticism. She was putting out pseudo New Age religion, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, I don't know what happened behind the scenes by any means. I'm only using deductive reasoning. It's probably one of her reasons why she wanted to branch out and do her own network, which, quote, quote, she calls OWN. Get it? She's creating what she wants using the laws of attraction by the name of her company. But anyhow, she created the OWN network, and she really struggled getting that network up and running, and it almost ruined her financially. Now, make no mistakes about it. I'm not trying to sit up here and say that Oprah is innocent in all of that, because I do think that she is heavily involved in the quote, quote, Caucasian elites cults or a cult, okay? So me personally, I think when she started just dipping her motherfucking toe into the laws of attraction, she didn't even go deep into it, y'all. She just started to dip, just to plant the seed in people, create what you want. She went off a script of what the people that put her in power, that gave her that platform, she was going off script. And because her audience was so wide, millions of women around the world, they like, oh, well, hold up. What the fuck is she doing? We got to shut this shit down. She could totally change the script just by putting this information out here, having all these women start creating what the fuck they want. Okay, so thank you for that, Brother Sean. But yes, everything is about laws of attraction. So just like the scenario I talked about earlier, if all you think about is I don't have, I'm not this, I'm not that nigga ain't shit, that bitch ain't shit, you're getting what you're putting out there. That's what's attracted to you.
You know, Brenda, what's really so weird is the people go to church and they sit there every Sunday and they hear the word, and it says in the script, ever a man thinketh, so is he. Mm-hmm. And then it says also in the old script that every man must work out his own soul salvation. And so when we all try to be a nation, we first have to be a person, because each person makes a nation. And you can't be a nation as a whole unless each person takes care of their own self first.
Absolutely.
And then that's when the nation starts being built. So it's all on us to do our own thing, because the Bible, or the Word, says, as a man thinks, so is he.
He.
Whatever you want, you have to believe it that you have it. And we are such devoted chicken eaters that just don't understand that he's telling you to turn within yourself and not in something they gave you to find the truth. But the other man has said, no, you got to trust this guy out here for your salvation. No. That's what it says.
Right. Or you have to go through this guy for your salvation.
Exactly.
No.
And that's not what it's. And they read it all the time, but somebody has built them a hologram of this beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude who did it all. And that's not truth. That's fiction. That's the Matrix. Because it says...
That's that infestation.
Yeah. You got it. That's what you said. That's a manifestation they gave you to put your faith somewhere else in other than reading. It says you're the one that has the key. You're the one.
Absolutely.
But we're dependent people.
And you know that reality only continues because that's what folks project.
Yeah, exactly. The
That's
images
why that continues.
That's right. The images they see is a hologram. But if they think of what it really says, they say, hear it. Come on, you guys. Open up your ears. Hear what it says. Don't hear what they tell you. Hear what it actually says. Hear it. What a man thinks is what he's going to be.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole hidden in plain sight thing.
Yeah.
And then also, it's breaking down the words again. Scripture, script. What is a script? It's a written play.
Yep.
And that book is telling people what role they're supposed to play. Instead of telling you who you actually are. It's telling you that you're supposed to be submissive, that you're supposed to be in fear, that you're supposed to worship this and worship that and ignore this and ignore that. It's not focusing solely on the exploration of self, especially if that's the interpretation that people, especially if that's the interpretation that people are being given. You're not going within and taking what you need out of it and utilizing it. They're following a set program, which most pastors and everything in their seminary school, they're taught specific scriptures to go over, and they're told what the interpretation of it is supposed to be.
Right.
And that's what they teach. And they go over the same thing over and over again. Like they say, if you do the 30-day program and it reaches this level, I mean, the more that they're there being programmed, having these same scriptures enforced in their head week in, week out. I mean,
I'm glad you brought up the preacher thing. Let's get that into this whole programming thing. A preacher ain't nothing but software.
Then now that's the shit right there.
He ain't nothing but software.
That's the shit right there.
That's all it is software. And guess what? And that software is built to misguide you so that you won't figure out that you need virus protection.
Exactly.
Because in order to see through the bullshit, you got to have the virus protection.
Yes,
to stop all them damn pop-ups. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And virus protection is your motherfucking discernment. But go ahead on, brother. Yes.
Yeah, because you can't. It's impossible for you to sit there and figure out what you need to figure out. Well, you got all these damn pop-up ads and all this other shit coming up. You got to have your virus protection to see through all that and concentrate on what you need to concentrate on.
Absolutely.
Like I said, they ain't nothing but damn software. That's all they are.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that, because as you were saying that, brother, but damn, that is profound that's another software, because I'm not going to leave out. I know we get on the preachers, but I'm going to get back on the fake ass conscious motherfucking community too. That's just another software versioning.
Same thing.
Programming, folks. So whether it be like Brother Wendell, so imagine this. You minding your business, you on the computer, and so you in the software of Christianity, and you get all of the pop-ups, apocalypse, heaven, hell, all that. You finally navigate through that and be like, that's some bullshit. So then you move to the conscious community, and then it has its own set of programming, okay, with the same little pop-up, okay? So basically what a lot of folks are doing is you just changing one motherfucking God for another one. That's all you're doing. If you're, calling on, worshiping all of these ancient deities, and this brother actually just posted something. I'm not going to mention his name. I didn't get his permission. But he posted something on Facebook saying Shango, Ashun, Varuna, Vaya, Oya, all demigods only rule for a set period of time. And he called a Manvantara, which is tens or hundreds of millions of solar years. Okay? So when I saw that run across my timeline, it put it into perspective that that's what the fuck is happening today. Folks are coming out of one indoctrination, learning and growing, and then taking on another software programming and letting they shit be reprogrammed into another set of doctrination, because you don't put up your virus protection. So you just allow yourself to be reprogrammed. Using discernment is really your virus protection program. Switching out the Jesus for another God, to me, shit, it's one and the motherfucking same. This is about taking ownership of your vessel. You are supposed to be the author. Bill Gates and them ain't supposed to write no shit for you. Anybody that know anything about computers know Microsoft products are riddled with goddamn viruses, spying on you and shit. All of that bullshit. Matter of fact, most people don't even know what the fuck language it's written in. That is why you are supposed to be the programmer, the author of your own mind. You are supposed to build in the antivirus protection of your own mind. Nobody can hack into your shit. But if you allow someone else to build your shit via indoctrination, and I don't give a rat's ass what set it is, it's still indoctrination. If you have not gone within and built it yourself, it's motherfucking indoctrination. If you are taking on someone else's set of values and indoctrination, then that's their goddamn program. So when they want to hack your shit, they wrote the code. They know the back end way to hack your shit. So very good point, Brother Wendell.
Oh, but okay.
I want to say something about the Oprah piece too. I don't know. I don't know if y'all caught it. but that wasn't the first encounter that Oprah had. Her first encounter was in 2005 when Katrina went down, Hurricane Katrina. She went, after it happened, she went down there and thought that she was going to go down there and rebuild the community. They made her take her shit to Houston.
Oh, that I didn't know. See, I wasn't hip to
that. That was the very first time that I had ever seen Oprah live in an interview shook up the way she was shook up.
Wow.
So they sent her a message. They sent her a message at that point.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. But that analogy, and I believe that's the way it really is. Just from a personal level, is everything out here is software, and there's nothing wrong with taking what you can. If you don't know what language is in, take it and dissect it and create your own program.
Exactly.
Because that's what you have to do anyway. If you take, let's take the Bible. The Bible is a compilation of ancient texts.
That's exactly what it is.
That's software within itself.
Yes.
Now you have to take what you can, but you got to have your virus protection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we also have to remember the New Age cult too. The people that are waiting for spaceships and aliens to come down and save us and remove the dark elite from the planet. And, I mean,
yeah, that's true. That's true too. That's true too, because that was another software that was put out there, and again, that diverts people from self, because that puts it on somebody else to come and quote save you, instead of, like Brother Panic said, save yourself. So that's also a very, very excellent point. Okay, so now I know we talked early. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Wendell.
Look, that was given to us in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when the Oracle alluded to a program being deleted because it was finished? It had done what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, that was one of the. Although they ripped Sister Sophia Stewart off and they was hidden in plain sight, that was one of the baddest metaphysic movies. But yeah, they was telling you that it's a computer program.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what the Matrix said. You talking about when she was sitting on that bench, and
on that bench.
And that other man had came to her, and she said that it was deleted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you take when I think it was in the first one. Remember when the agents shot Neo and he died? Guess what he did? He took those bullets that they shot him with and converted them into another program, and he deleted them. You dig what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying.
So he before he actually died, what he did was created a virus protection and came back up in another form, in a stronger program. He became a stronger software. And he was able to delete them.
Exactly. So hence, which is exactly what folks, if you want to concentrate on quote getting rid of the controllers, that's what the fuck is supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to be doing, not marching. complaining, oh, the white man this, the white man that, just get on your shit. Create the world you want. And if you create the world you want, then don't you create who the fuck you want in it? Or do you keep creating the same world you don't want? By concentrating on the folks you claim you don't want in it. That's laws of attraction. That what you concentrate on is what the fuck you gonna get. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, we talked about this kind of earlier today, and we talked about the current age that we are in, coming out of a patriarchal society, going into a matriarch society or a feminine society. So I ran across this one video talking about manifestation and the divine feminine. When I'm saying it, let me make sure I have it, because you know how that goes. Every time I say I have something, it magically disappears. So, yeah, it is here. This is only 12 minutes. I'm going to play this, and we're going to come back and talk about this right quick. Where the hell is it? Because I split it up. All right. That's part 3. Oh, this is so much stuff here, y'all. Divine manifestation of the divine. Okay. Oh, while I'm looking for the video, if anybody else want to put something on it, press 1 to get into the queue. Okay, that's part 5. I'm just going to play the last piece of this because I split it up into 4 parts, but I'm just going to play the last part.
I see, I said to her, and she smiled at me dumbly, like she had no idea what I just said. And in fact, she didn't speak English. She's Norwegian and doesn't speak English, which is weird to me because they have a great education system and they learn English there, but I guess she's just not fluent. Okay. So I look at her after I say this, and she just gives me this kind of blank stare and the same doofy smile, and I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And this man who's sitting next to her looks at me and says, "Hi, this is my wife." And I said, "Okay." "My wife is sitting in your seat." And I said, "Yeah, okay." And he said, "Can my wife sit here?" "Oh, I'm going to be sitting in your seat," he said. I'm sorry. He said, "I'm going to be sitting in your seat." And I said, "Okay, why?" And he said, "Would you like to sit in first class?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "See, the thing is, I'm a producer with a TV show, and the TV show bought all the tickets for the crew. We're all flying first class. But my wife wanted to come on this trip, and it's been a multi-city trip. We've been to 7 cities. And so I bought her 7 tickets with my own money so she could come everywhere with us. But obviously I can't afford to buy 7 first-class tickets, so I bought economy tickets. So every flight we take, someone ends up getting really lucky and sitting in first class because I have to sit back here with my wife because she's afraid to fly. And the only thing that keeps her from getting flustered," that explains the doofy look on her face. She's fucking terrified of the plane or even being on the plane. She's like sweating and terrified. "The only way that my wife can handle takeoff and landing and just being in the air is if she holds my hand and is near me. So I was wondering if you would please give me your seat and you can have my seat in first class." And I just started laughing. And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Nothing." Nothing. And in my head, I was like, "Power of manifestation." And no, actually in my head, I was thinking, "Thank you, God. Yes, God. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, Jesus." Like, I swear to God, this is what I was doing.
Wait a minute, that ain't the bullshit. That's not what I want you to hear. I'm going to play the first part, and then I'm going to stop it at a certain point. I didn't like that. Sorry, I had to take a health break. That ain't what the fuck I want to play. So hold on. Here we go.
Overcome. because she is so incredibly beautiful. And then I remember what happened. Wait, this is really good. Let's go back and put that in there so she doesn't drop anything. What she does is she gets tired of the situation because Shiva's just not seeing her. The dude is not feeling her. He's never even looked in her direction. He won't speak to her. She's just like, what is going on? So she goes to the Hindu god of love, whose name is Kama. And Kama is a big black dude, really muscular, made of like some kind of black stone or something. And he's got these really, really strong, agonizing arrows. So it's the Hindu mythological version of Cupid, except he's not a little soft kid with these little arrows that he shoots at people and they fall in love. It's like this big...
Okay, family. I'm not going to play that. That's some bullshit. That's not what I wanted. Literally, the video that I wanted for you all out of that, I can't fucking find. So I'm not finna play that bullshit. That's not what I wanted. But basically...
Hey, Rhonda,
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
I'm gonna give you an example of something. Yeah, y'all can take this and do what you want to, because y'all know I always say they take it and do what you want to do with it.
Exactly. Right.
But part of building your program, you got to sometimes listen to some bullshit, because it might be something that you can get out of.
True that.
That's just my mode of operation. That's where I operate.
True that. That's very true.
Now,
you'll know what to listen to and what not to listen to. But that's all a part of building your program and, quite frankly, learning self too. You're absolutely right. But she did have some very powerful stuff in that video, and I split it up into 5 pieces, and every piece that I hit tonight that I wanted to share, I didn't like it because it wasn't taking you where I needed us to go. So I'll find that information and post it out there so you can listen to it on your own and use discernment. So real quick, let me go to 832. We have a call, 832. 832, your line is open.
Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. My sister from another mister. And the great oracle, my brother from another mother.
Throw me some, boy. I ain't heard you in a while. Throw me some.
No, I'm going to take the baton, my brother. I'm going to run down the race that you just started us on. So last time I talked to you, Rhonda, I was saying and hoping that you had a chance to get out, whether or not you do a show. It's going to be piecing back and forth like you did with the Matrix. It's something that it's a panorama, a canvas, the big picture, whatever semantical terminology we want to use. Inside the context, I'm going to put snippets together, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I think you still haven't seen it yet either, have you, Wendell? As you said, you heard it on a YouTube video, somebody else break it down, but you haven't seen the movie yourself. You guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. Although you're kind of breaking up a tad bit, but go ahead on.
Well, here's part of the concept. This white man that he goes to visit the parents over the weekend is a brain surgeon, and is taking the brains of white people who are going through the silent auction of appropriating black bodies, primarily male, using the white female as race bait. And it's at least a dozen of them that you find later on in the movie that she had pictures stashed of how they brought these black male bodies, and each of them have been used by these wealthy white liberal elites. It's not the Klan. It's not so-called, typical right-wing white supremacist images of. These are supposedly the good white people. All right. They are taking and suppressing the consciousness of the African-American male in a place that's referred to by the hypnotherapist's wife as the sunken place. In other words, and there's a scene in there that I know you would love as far as symbolism and metaphysics, where it looks like it's outer space. And they are dropping the consciousness of the black male into this dark ether, unlimited universe, where they can have conscious control over the physical being. Now, some of these white males are, aged, ancient, decrepit. One was making a reference about golfing in Tiger Woods. Then you have this Asian dude just out of the blue. They only got one Asian in the movie. But he goes and asks him the question, do you think, I'm paraphrasing that, do you think the African-American experience is an advantage or a disadvantage? And it just hangs out there. And, of course, the brother in question that's under the microscope, because he doesn't know, he is actually being set up for a silent auction as a scene later in this so-called family reunion gathering that they lied to him about. You know, the daughter pretends like she doesn't know that it's going on this weekend. She goes and brings him after they've been together for 4 or 5 months for the first time to meet the family. So the whole premise here, and there's a lot of layers to it, obviously. The disappearing of black people, the appropriation of black bodies, organ donation, transplantation of the brain, suppression of consciousness, and overall outright white control, conscious over the black subconscious, if you get what I'm describing. And to me, it's taking the matrix on a more personal, specific to the Moor or African, as called African American, in this experience, where we have been under physical domination for 500 years. We are now advancing into a different level of mental, spiritual, and psychological oppression and slavery that is so far removed now because, and I haven't even got to the technology aspect, because really the way, and Jordan Peele, to be honest with you, I was ambivalent about him as an individual, but this brother has put a hell of a lot of consciousness in the content of the screenplay. So, I don't know whether or not you go and see it and you do it like you did similarly with Doctor Strange, but it has, there are some other things too after seeing it a couple of times, obviously, where you can look at certain layers of how they use the imagery of the deer. The very opening scene, they have this real weird-ass, old, white-sounding song called Run, Rabbit, Run. And they feed him carrot cake as a dessert. He uses the deer head that's mounted, you know how they mount and stuff animals.
Right.
Taxidermy. He uses the deer head to kill the father. And then this white woman that's a hypnotherapist uses a teacup to hypnotize the actual individuals for a trigger mechanism where if in the future, because he did some incidents where he did flash photography, the flash caused like an epileptic response. And the suppressed consciousness of the black person all of a sudden resurfaced and gained control again. So they had to then be reconditioned, rehypnotized by the mother.
Right.
So that the white person can take actual physical control over, and I'm using quotes, quote unquote, the superior melanoid being. Now, what does that mean in the context of manifestation from the psychosis of a Caucasoid European brain? Now, the liberal elite is actually doing it, though Adolf Hitler, we are told, is who espoused. But in the way he played this critique out, it is through these so-called friends, the good white people of the black community, that are trying to appropriate out of some wicked, false, perverted love of blackness and black culture, of some way that they can still be in a superior position. You follow what I'm saying? That's the metaphor. You know? But actually taking your physical body, suppressing your spiritual and conscious state and supplanting it with their brain. That's the premise of Get Out.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was bringing that to the table because I wasn't exactly sure where you wanted to go with the discussion of manifestation tonight.
No. That feeds basically into, and I haven't yet seen the movie. I went to see the movie. It's no longer playing, and I actually went to see another movie, Ghost in the Shell.
How about Ghost in the Shell?
I done already broke that down. I just broke that down on my Facebook page sometime this week because it's basically
the parallel
thing.
of that is they put it in a robotic body.
Exactly. So it's the same thing. Exactly. It's exactly the same thing, and I literally put on one of my Facebook pages as you were because you just pretty much broke down the movie Get Out, which is why I won't break it down because I think folks have done an excellent job breaking that down. You just did an excellent job breaking it down, so I don't need to cover it no more. But Ghost in the Shell was literally basically the same thing. It only difference was they just put it.
Well, when you do it with a synthetic body, because that's what they're talking about. They're talking about some future. There's always a dystopian, futuristic world, and you notice it was all based in an Asian context, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So it's some mythical Asian city, presumably like a Japan or Singapore, because they're still they really don't want to make it Chinese. When they make it Chinese, like the Great Wall, which is a flop, they want to go back in time and keep China in that, ancient 5,000-year-old, backward type thing. Whereas anything that's seen as futuristic is Japan.
Yeah, I noticed that they do that, and I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. But just with Ghost in the Shell. But here's the point: I'm trying to merge what you just described with Get Out and how it fits into what we're discussing tonight. And I put this on one of my Facebook pages about Ghost in the Shell. Here's the metaphysic breakdown. The movie was about the spirit and the soul and you realizing who you truly are, no matter what the shell is, meaning the physical. The key to this movie was to stop taking the medicine in order to regain control of self, spirit, and soul. In other words, the main character in the movie was forced into this robotic shell, but voluntarily kept taking the medicine, which were controlling her memories and ultimately her spirit and soul. Her inner self, spirit and soul, was sending glitches or signals to remind her of who she is. This movie represents where we are today. Whether we volunteered or not to be in this matrix, when we continue to take the medicine offered to us, indoctrination, that's what the medicine is, we are giving authorization for others to control. It's no accident that this movie was released. They are putting it in plain sight that you are responsible for you. The answers are within you. You must remember you. It is within you. So when
let me add one more layer. Let me add one more layer to a metaphor or an example, an analogy like what he said with software. The point of white consciousness trying to supplant and repress. Remember for how many years that we were attacked, and still it's coming back again, about ebonics?
Mm-hmm.
And the hip-hop culture?
Right.
Now, we are forced, there was a very important scene from Undercover Brother, if you've ever seen that. With
yeah,
Eddie
I thought that was
where,
a great movie. He threw a lot of stuff in there, but go ahead.
If you only take the one part of him being conditioned to be a black Caucasian, and the key tag phrase was, because he borrowed it from The Sixth Sense, I see white people. You know, after he had all of a sudden got to a point where he can consume mayonnaise without vomiting.
Yeah, that was funny.
Okay.
That was funny.
But the antidote for the mayonnaise was remember Smart Brother put the hot sauce in his watch to squirt on it. Okay. The mayonnaise, come on with me, Oracle. The mayonnaise is Caucasoid European culture. Bland, no flavor. The hot sauce, you know, you might say, is the niggerization.
Right.
You know, the problem is we're continuing to do it in the context of underneath European oppression. We still haven't got to the source of who we truly are. Remember, we've been here 500 years without a land, without a language, without a God concept, and have foisted upon us the European culture of Caucasoid Jesus. And what is the actual culture? Capitalism? You feel me? And all of that is to supplant and suppress our true nature, our Ka and our Ba, our soul and our spirit. And what Get Out is trying to manifest in this actual screenplay is that will never change, because in futuristic technological terms, the Caucasoid European will try to take their physical brain to suppress and supplant our spiritual and soul consciousness. And thanks for the time, my sister. And Oracle, keep shining the light.
Hey, my brother.
All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna. Okay, he dropped dead because I had a statement that I wanted to make to him, because my whole thing with that again, with I thought that was his dog in the background cutting up. That I wanted to say to the brother was, when we keep bringing up the concept of they and what the European is doing, bottom line, we have to give they motherfucking authorization to do what we think they is trying to do, or what they are going to quote do. You have to give someone access to your Ka and your Ba. Whether that be you taking in the indoctrination, continuing to participate in the bullshit ass system. Nobody can infiltrate your shit without you either not maintaining your computer software programming and allowing someone to infiltrate it. So I hear what the brother is saying, but again, I still say that's only going to happen if you allow that shit to happen. That's just me. I'm sorry. You have to voluntarily allow that bullshit to happen. So I hate that he dropped, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
But also in tying those movies together, The Matrix, Get Out, and Ghost in the Shell, we're the soul. The body is an organic quantum computer, which is programmed.
Yep.
Whether we're talking about the left or right hemisphere of the brain, either of those are leading into one side. We're supposed to go in, center.
That's right.
Which would be the pineal gland.
Pineal gland.
Or pineal brain, right. or whatever you choose to refer to it as.
Right.
That's what Ghost in the Shell is telling you.
That's exactly.
The soul is trapped inside of a vessel, trying to get out. As long as you're being programmed, you're in the matrix. The body is of the matrix. Every person's body is their own matrix.
Yep.
It's not just one matrix that we're all sharing. We're all trapped in our own individual matrix. that we created from our thoughts. Everything has to take place on the spiritual before it takes place on the physical. That's the manifestation that we're doing on a daily.
Yes. Say that again, brother. Just say that part for me again, if you will, about taking place in the spiritual. Just say that part again for me.
Everything takes place in the spiritual before it takes place in the physical.
Absolutely.
And we're manifesting all day, every day. And like the example you used about somebody that's always running around saying, I'm broke, or I'm never going to get a job, or I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to find love. You put that in the universe. You just blocked yourself. You created the reality that you're about to have. You created it.
That's right.
So we manifest all day, every day. It's just a matter of being clear, precise, and without fear to manifest the things that you need. And Get Out is telling you that we have to get out of these bodies because they're not us. They're telling you that the body can be programmed, what all that can be done to you. And that's the spiritual beings or solar beings. We're not supposed to be programs. We're supposed to be programmers. We create the programs. We're not part of the program. We're not supposed to be subjected to the programs.
Exactly.
But we allowed ourselves to be. So we have to do away with being programmed, period. Not creating new programs. We're above programs. The demiurges or whatever, all of them are part of the program. Those who can't go above certain levels. They're all part of the Matrix program.
Yep. Like the Oracle said, that program was deleted because it was no longer needed.
Exactly. And if you think about it, every time that we reincarnate, that old program is being erased. That's why we come back here without memories of being here before.
Exactly.
Like he told me, we've done this thousands of times before. There's been the one many times before.
Sure did.
Y'all just don't remember.
The man said. Exactly. That's sure what the man said. Absolutely. Very, very good point. So I'm glad Brother Sean came in and put something on there because I definitely want us to get into some of the keys to manifestation / laws of attraction. And we talked about it throughout tonight, but I want to reiterate it. And I'm glad Brother Sean brought up again because he said, precise, okay, obvious, clear, your thoughts, your intentions behind your thoughts, reprogramming your consciousness / subconsciousness for your benefit. Write it, speak it, visualize it, breathe it. Be specific. Be repetitive. This is how you, quote, quote, reprogram. This is how you, quote, quote, use laws of attraction. Your thoughts, the intention behind your thoughts, write it, speak it, visualize it, breathe it. Be specific. Be repetitive. Okay? When you are using the laws of attraction, being the creator, you are supposed to be using it in the aspect, and I'm so glad Brother Sean said this, of you are simply bringing forth things from the spiritual realm that you have already thought, you have already created into the physical realm. That is how we're supposed to be using the science, the metaphysics behind manifestation / law of attraction. How do you do that? Now, sure, you could do the rituals and all that like we talked about. I don't recommend that until you study yourself approved and create the shit yourself, because even with any ritual you put together, you still have to think it, write it, speak it, have intentions behind it. So as you are learning and using and reprogramming, quote, quote, your conscious and subconscious mind, these are simple things that you can do. If you want to create your reality to benefit you, you have to start with your thoughts. So anytime you catch yourself with something negative, the opposite of what you don't want, you're supposed to stop that shit in mid-thought and reverse it to what you really are trying to achieve. I have abundance. I have everything I need. Be specific. But to come out and say, I don't have nothing, I don't have no money, then you're not going to get it, okay? So again, controlling your thoughts, reprogramming your thoughts, putting your true intentions behind your thoughts. That's how you're going to reprogram your consciousness and your subconscious mind. Using the laws of attraction, you have to write down what you want. And as you're writing, you have to be thinking the shit, right? You have to speak what you want. As you're speaking, you have to be thinking what you're speaking. Visualization. As you're visualizing something, you have to be thinking what you're visualizing. These are the key things to the laws of attraction. And then I also kind of remember, and I can't remember what video I got this from. It may have been from one of them New Age videos, but to Brother Wendell's point, sometimes you do have to go through the bullshit videos to get some of the stuff or the nuggets that apply to you. And as you keep working on self, going within, you'll be able to sit through some stuff and pick out just the points that you need. You're going to be able to discern what's bullshit or what somebody is trying to program or indoctrinate you on. But anyhow, wherever this video was, I can't even remember what the hell it came from. But it struck me because it was saying on the laws of attraction, it's almost like high-performing athletes. Any high-performing athlete that you would talk to always tells you that they use the exercise of visualization. So meaning they play out the game in their head. Literally. They play it out in their head. They visualize what moves they're going to make to get that particular victory. Okay? Any business owner that has had success, that have got things off the ground, or any inventors, it starts with a thought. Okay? You think it in your mind, and then you start putting it on paper, organizing the way you want this to be. But again, it all starts with that thought. Visualizing. Oh, okay, that's how I want this idea. You know what? That's really going to work. That's a good idea. Then they started putting it to paper. And then it goes into more visualization, adding on to the original intent. And then they go into the physically making it happen. So everything starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts are vibrations. That is how you connect to the higher realms, or any fucking realm for that matter. It is your thoughts. So you create the reality. You create your own world, that what you want it to be. I cannot stress this enough. This ain't about nobody else. It's all about you. It ain't about what no white man gonna do to you, what they supposedly, allegedly gonna motherfucking do. It is about you. What reality do you want for yourself? And quite frankly, some of us don't know. Let's just be real. Be real with yourself. You may not even know what the fuck you want. And which is why a lot of people fall into indoctrination, because they don't know self. They don't know what they want. They say, I want to be free. Well, we talked about what the definition of manifestation is. It's supposed to be clear. It's supposed to be plain, obvious, precise. So what the fuck does free mean? If you don't know the plan, the specific plan for yourself, you will fall for anybody else's plan. So this whole matrix that we're walking through, whether you fucking voluntarily to be here or not, it still is, what reality are you creating for yourself? And believe you me, if you don't know, somebody else will gladly swoop in and give you their program and just feed off your goddamn energy for their benefit. So I'm going to pause there in case you all want to put something on it. And then I did want to get into one video that talks about specific things on the keys of laws of attraction. But go ahead on in case you all want to put something else on it while I look for this video.
What I'd like to say to the family is, thus far you've heard things not to do going into manifestation. As far as for what is specific for you, you have to go within.
Yep.
I don't know how many times we're going to have to reiterate that. We're presenting the information is out there. And like Brother Wendell said, you sometimes you just got to go through the bullshit. I mean, if you look at gold miners, look how much stuff they got to dig through. Sometimes only just to find a little nugget. But it'd be worth it to them.
Yep.
So, I mean, we have to dig through the bullshit. All the layers of indoctrination, all the false programs that we've been given. You got to dig through that shit and find the truth. Yep. The truth is within you. It's inside.
Yep. Yep. I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Wendell.
That was a very good example you gave on the gold miner.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's put that into the context of this programming. What the gold miner does is he goes into the search engine until he finds what he's actually looking for. So, in order for us to find the truth, we have to do one or two things. We either have to use the search engine that we have, or break that search engine down to what we want to find what we're looking for. Because you can do that. I hope you realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll come up with that nugget sooner or later. But you just have to deal with that search engine.
Absolutely.
And of course, have your virus protection with you, because you're going to go through some bullshit.
Yep. You're going to come across some viruses that you have to go through and see, oh, motherfucker, you a virus? Oh, okay, bitch, okay. Shut down. Absolutely. Very, very good point. And the as both of you were speaking, and I'm still trying to find this damn video, and you know I'm pissed. I only found the second half. But anyhow, as the both of you were speaking, it reminded me of this scene from this crazy ass movie. I think it was called Holiday Heart. And one of the little gay guys was talking about the crackhead mom. And so he said, you know, such and so ain't nothing but a microwave hoe. She want everything quick and easy. So I'm saying all that to say that, you know, sometimes when, you know, we're running across this new knowledge, some folks may want it, but they don't want to put the work into it. And, of course, the work means the studying, the going, the reading, the breaking shit down, and then being with yourself, dissecting the information, going to various different sources, not being just stuck in one genre, but going to very different sources. And how you know you're doing the shit right is because when you start studying and then you get to pondering, well, I wonder about that. And then all of a sudden you're going to start running across information about that, what you were wondering about. And it keeps going on and it keeps going on and it keeps going on. And it's going to come from different sources. It's not going to come from one line of information. That's how you know that the shit is indoctrination. If it's just one motherfucking streamline of information. No, you're supposed to be getting your study and your learning, your building from various sources of nuggets. Okay, that's just like a very good analogy of the miner. They're gonna find a nugget in this spot, and then they get to the point where they just know, okay, that's about it for there, but let me go over here and start exploring. So that is what we are supposed to be doing to go within. This is not an overnight situation. And even for those that, you know, have been working on self for years, it is a continuous process. None of us on this plane should be sitting up like we know every motherfucking thing. Those are the people that I'm like, oh, yeah, you full of shit. Okay. So, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there, that it is up to self. You're going to have to take the information and search it out for yourself. You're going to have to do the reading. You're going to have to dig through the tons of YouTube videos. I'm going to be quite frank, honest. You just cannot go to people motherfucking shows, and that's including this show, and think that you're going to get everything. This is just a snippet of what you need to be doing for self. Okay, so I did want to put that out there, and I still ain't found this goddamn video. So let me.
Hey,
go ahead,
to your point on that, that was also showed to you in the Matrix. You remember when Neo went to see this guy in this white room? What did you see? He had up I ain't no telling how many damn screens.
He had a bunch of TVs up. Yep.
Bunch of screens, and they all had different shit on it.
Yep.
But guess what he was able to do? He was able to bring all that shit together and have just Neo on every screen.
Mm-hmm.
So that also matches up with the analogy of the gold miner. You got all this shit going on, but you can break that thing down to one piece, and that's what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And what you're searching for. Just imagine all those screens as a search engine. You use all of that stuff to find out exactly what you're looking for.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a very good analogy, even with the search engine, because that's exactly what it is. A search engine just don't use one motherfucking source.
No.
It does what? You put in there what you're searching for, and doesn't it bring back a list of options?
Lists and pages, and then once you get into one of the links, you got links from that link that go to another link.
Exactly.
And so on and so on.
Exactly. And that is how we are supposed to be doing our quote research. And when you're doing that research, it's going to lead you deeper into self. Now, I do want to make clear, now, when I first started my journey on spirituality, and probably like a lot of people that I've talked to, you know, once you come out of the religion stuff, you all angry, like, what the fuck, what, blah, this, that, and the third. So you start really, really searching. You do a lot of reading. You do a lot of research. So then you get heavily into the books. But then once you find that important nugget that, wow, but even with all of this, the ultimate goal is I have to go within me to pick what applies to me from this vast amount of research that I'm doing. So I'm saying all this to say, and this is to those of you that are new to quote consciousness, to spirituality, you know, don't get discouraged. You know that you're on the right track when you stay hungry for the information, when you stay constantly learning, researching on your own. The only caution that I give you is to not get re-indoctrinated by someone else's shit. Study it all. And then you'll start to take the pieces that's going to particularly work for you. Okay? And I don't know if that's still on the side of using the laws of attraction, but nonetheless, going within. Okay, so this next video that I do want to play, this one is by off a YouTube channel called We Are One TV. It's Abraham Hicks, Proof of Manifestation Everywhere. The Law of Attraction Works. Okay, so here we go. This first part is about 19 minutes. Those of you that are on the listening live online, we're getting ready to go into overtime. So if you want to continue with us, you need to dial in at 929-477-3858. 929-477-3858 in about 15 minutes. We're going into overtime. So here we go. Proof of manifestation using the laws of attraction work. Abraham Hicks.
About 3 years, and I was going through a lot of philosophical circles, all that stuff, and I was going to go through some success stories, but we'll see if we have time for that. The other guy, I thought he was going to get into something about non-duality, which is something that I wanted to talk about, to get Abraham's perspective on the idea of, you know, like a lot of Eastern teachers talk about non-duality. I'm starting to get the idea that may be what Abraham talks about as the idea of the non-physical, which is also the physical, the oneness between the two. But there seems to be that all-encompassing sense of I amness, of the beingness of, that's the only thing you can say with absolute certainty as a consciousness. At least from here, there seems to be an I am. And other than that, yeah, I want to see how that relates to non-physical or Abraham's perspective.
Well, there certainly is duality in everything, because
it appears
in everything. Well, let's talk about it. Of course, words are interesting, aren't they? Because different people mean different things by them. But what we mean in this sense, that in every particle of everything, there is wanted and the absence of it, and whatever is in between. And so that's sort of like the ultimate duality, in that contrast just provides that. It's necessary in order to get focus. It's necessary to know what you do want, to be able to know what you don't want. The thing that is interesting, humans have manufactured this ultimate duality of good and evil because they have not been good at mastering their alignment. And when they stand in discord to that stream of well-being, the disallowance, the personal disallowance of that powerful energy leaves them in such a feeling of void. And if they practice it long enough to get momentum, that then their natural assumption is there must be some assertion of this. It's really the point of this entire conversation that we're having with all of you. Because until you understand about law of attraction and what role you play in what comes to you, it feels that there is an outside assertion that is doing things to you. It is the strongest discomfort that people have when they come to us. They say, I want to believe that I create my own reality, but I do not believe that I do, because I would not have created that if I'd had the choice. And we say, there are so many things you have to understand. You're creating not with your words, you're creating with your vibrational countenance. And your vibration is so much more than you know that it is. There are intentions that you set forth. One of the most interesting things as we are playing with our physical friends is that they sift through contrast and they desire things that they don't stay up to speed with. And then they sift through contrast and they desire things that they don't stay up to speed with. And they sift through contrast and they desire things that they don't stay up to speed with. So they don't practice the vibration of their desire. And then sometimes at a weak, unfocused moment, when they're not continuing to beat the drum of the unwanted, which is what's holding them away from what they want, they find themselves influenced by some situation or some person into alignment where they allow some of what they want to come in. And then they don't even recognize it because they haven't practiced it enough to know what it would feel like. It's sort of like they can't see it because they haven't practiced knowing what it feels like to be there. Where when you become deliberate in your creation, when you know what you're reaching for, and you are sensitive to the vibrational gap between where you are standing and what you're reaching for, and you soothe that gap, you close that gap, you come consistently into alignment with it, then you don't miss those subtle nuances as the universe is yielding to you in precision to what you're asking for.
And I feel like that's, when I took to this Abraham stuff, I dove into it with both feet and buried myself in it. I became a master manifester. Now it's more of a problem of demanifesting the crap I already manifested. I mean, it's insane. If we can go into some of the success stories, I think it'd be fun for some of the people that maybe haven't been doing this so long. Like when I first started, I thought, it'd be fun. You know, I was single at the time, and so was my best friend and my ex-wife, and we were like, this is interesting. This law of attraction stuff. Let's try it. So we made a list of what we wanted and looked at it every day and all that. And within 2 weeks, all three of us had found a perfect mate. We're all still with them 3 years later. I mean, and then we started thinking, wow, this is really interesting. And I always love the success stories. That's why I like to share them a little bit. That was some of my favorite things about the Abraham material, was reading, your Esther and Jerry's stories, and then the people that would sit in the chair. And I remember one guy sat in a chair, and he was telling his success story that he said, I want to get checks in the mail. To me, that sounded like the stupidest thing in the world. Why would somebody mail you a check for no reason? And he said it worked for him. And I was like, okay, you know what? I have no resistance to that. That sounds like fun. So, okay, whatever. Within a couple of weeks, I get a check in the mail for $3.60. Some class action lawsuit that I did not know I was a part of. I'm like, okay, this is fun. All right. So then a couple of weeks later, I get a check for $360 in the mail. Some refund from some power company where I lived like 10 years ago. Okay, this is fun. So then a couple of weeks later, I get a check for $3,600 in the mail from eBay, another class action lawsuit thing. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Then I'm waiting for my $36,000 check, and what happened instead was I had an inspiration to start buying condos, and so I bought a bunch of cheap condos and made a lot more than $36,000. Actually, I did want to brag a little bit. As of about 2 weeks ago, I'm a millionaire. For one of my goals. It's all law of attraction, and it's just being loose with it, just having fun with it. It's just one thing after the other. And so that stuff, I feel like I got nailed. It's a blast. I mean, everything from when my dad died, I had no resistance to it. He told me he died. I was in Florida. He was in Louisiana. I woke up, and he's standing next to me in my bed, about as far away as you are now. He looked about 30 years younger. He looked great. And I just said, I looked at him, and he was really excited to see me. And I said, this is the last time I'm going to see you, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And I gave him a big hug, said goodbye, and I had my daughter with me at the time. I said, Grandpa Joe died. And she's like, how do you know? I'm like, I just saw him. Told my girlfriend, I knew. And then I didn't hear about it until like 8 hours later. We had no idea that he was close to dying, and found out later he died. And I see him now more than I saw him when he was alive. And it's always pleasant, and I recognize that you're never going to see somebody that's dead if you're in the midst of sorrow or grief or anything like that. I only saw him when I was in a good, happy mood. I'd go to sleep, have a dream, and he'd tell me something that I couldn't have known in real life. I'd verify it with my stepmother, and it would be real. I mean, stuff that blow your mind. It's a blast. I'm having so much fun with this stuff. But it leaves me time to think about the things like I was talking about, like non-duality and the relationship between consciousness and source, and consciousness and all that is. And it seems like you can break reality down to the trio of perceiver, perception, the perceived, and I don't understand where source and non-physical fits into that. It seems like there's nothing else. There's a perception. There appears to be a centralized focus right here in me, centralized behind my eyeballs, and then out there is all of you that I can't even prove really exist. I mean, other than the fact that I perceive you, and I don't understand how non-physical fits into that I amness, the one consciousness that appears.
There are a number of things that you've touched on that we want to elaborate on more. And the first is we want to talk about this demanifestation that you were talking about, because you'll reach just briefly, you'll reach the place that, first of all, we're not trying to talk any of you out of any of the things that you want to manifest. Manifestation is a wonderful thing. It is the furthest edge of this vibrational alignment that you are accomplishing, and it is evidence of alignment, evidence of things wanted and unwanted. And so it's a wonderful tool in helping you to tune yourself. But the whole purpose of tuning yourself is for the emotional feeling that it brings you. In other words, the ultimate manifestation is control of the way you feel. And so these things that are coming to you are all nuggets.
It's old news. It's old thought. But that moment of that joy, I feel that. But the source of that, I think, is.
But you'll reach the place where, as the manifestations become less and less significant, what will become more and more significant is I can focus a thought, and I can become more and more detailed in the thought, and I can increase the momentum of the thought, or I can decrease the momentum of the thought, and I can determine and control the rendezvous. In other words, it's the feeling of the hands in the clay that all of this is about. And manifestations are a wonderful part of it, but you're right. In time, the manifestations become less and less important. What happens is, once you accomplish a consistent awakening and staying on that high-flying disc, so that you've really got control of the way you begin the day and the way you begin to move through the day. The first indication that you've really got that going on the way you want it is that the emotion that comes to you is like the first manifestation. And what could be more manifestation-like than something visceral right in your body, the way you feel? And so that's the first thing that comes. Now, of course, the feeling comes in response to the thought. So to be really accurate, we have to say to you, the thought which accomplished the alignment came first. But once you've got that going on, then the emotions that follow are your next awareness of manifestation. The next thing that happens is steady streams of thought begin to flood into your mind from your past, from future experiences even. You begin to rendezvous with your own good ideas. And along with that comes sensations of clarity. Now, clarity feels more like a thinking experience, and yet clarity really is an emotional experience. It feels so good to be clear-minded. And when you juxtaposition it with the feeling of confusion, that's when you really feel that clarity of knowing what to do. Esther's been describing her greatest discomfort recently has been her own split energy, not being able to decide what to do about something. That's a really uncomfortable place to be. And what she's beginning to discover more and more is a clarity is there. That's the second part of your question. We're going to talk about that in a little more detail soon. So here is this first order of business, which is emotion, to let you know you're in alignment, and then thoughts begin coming. But then the next thing, the animals begin to interact with you in a more emphatic way, and then humans begin to interact with you in a more emphatic way. Things begin to manifest in your experience, like cars in your garage and so forth. But the first signs of your alignment really, after a while, become the ones that you're reaching for most. Because as you come to know, there are a limit to how many things you want to carry around and keep clean and insure. And it is not why
I had to manifest a desire to have more desires. I ran out of things to want.
Well, there's no ending to how that continues to unfold. Once you get on this roll of things, you'll begin to find yourself just salivating over pondering something that you've never pondered in this way before, and the feeling of clarity that then comes in. Now, you've tied two very significant things together. So here's where we're wanting to go with this. That's what you were asking about earlier. So you were source energy before you came into this body, and blah, blah, blah. You all know that. You've heard it from us so many times. You know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and you are launching these rockets of desire. And as you launch those rockets of desire, this non-physical part of you expands. Now, at any time, you can come into alignment with that expansion. But when you have what you are calling your death experience, we disrespectfully call it your croaking experience, since there is no death, and you reemerge into the fullness of all that you are, that's a really exhilarating experience, because you leave behind all resistance of any kind, and you come into your clarity and into the fullness of who you are. Now, for those of you who are remaining here in physical form, once you've known someone who has made their transition, you have access to them in their highest flying state of being, provided you are on that high flying disc as well.
That's the only way you're going to see them.
Well, you can see the thought forms of them, in other words, because as they were banging around in their physical form, they set forth all kinds of things that they were. In other words, you could be on a lower flying disc and pick up on a thought form of someone who has made their transition, but you're not picking up on who they now are. Because without exception, when they reemerge into non-physical, they become that pure, positive energy. But the thing that we really want you to understand is that they are still, in fact, more interested in what was going on in their life experience once they make their transition. In other words, we really want to ask you all, what do you all think we're thinking about?
That's the point about the non-duality.
If you are the
question.
leading edge of thought, and you are, and your life experience is causing you to be on the front edge of expansion, and you keep asking for more things that have never been asked for before, and we ride the rocket of what you're asking for, doesn't it seem logical to you that we would have some interest in the manifestation, the realization, the demonstration that comes forth to you? We're in on all of that. And so a large amount of the clarity that you are all coming to is because of the momentum that we have garnered, from the momentum that we are. as cooperative components to the things that you care about. But it is only when you have achieved and consistently maintained that high-flying vibration that you begin to have constant, steady, secure, meaning you can find it anytime you want to, access to that non-physical thought. That is what's going on with Esther as she is receiving Abraham. In other words, she's been tuned in for so long, she's been practicing the vibration of Os. Many of you have too. And so she can instantaneously bring herself in as short a time as she stands there, depends on how much chattering she's done with you beforehand, but she can bring herself into vibrational alignment with that which we are, so that she literally becomes the furthest, most extension of the knowing that we hold. And what's interesting to us is what you are all focusing about, you see. So this non-physicalness is always integrated with the physical. It always has been and it always will be. You have legions, you have gestalts, you have more non-physical energy backing you up, consciousness backing you up. And every part of it you could identify if you were refined enough in your vibrational awareness to know that. We're just saying to you, there are a lot of us interested in what you've got going on, but you've got to be in the frequency to have awareness of it. Now, whether you're in that frequency or not does not mean that we cannot be in awareness of you, but the benefit to you is all about what you're doing vibrationally. It's a really wonderful thing when you are able to open your eyes and actually witness someone who's made their transition and is in that high-flying place, presenting a block of thought to you that you were able to interpret vibrationally and visually. That's a wonderful thing.
But that was, at least it seemed to me that was a separate focal point of consciousness. I think that's where I'm having a hard time delineating between, like, when you say like a consciousness gestalt versus a non-physical versus
well, go back to your
physical.
subject. Think about focus. You offered some very good words in the beginning here about perception and perceiver and all of that. Mm-hmm. So what you are perceiving is what's tuning or toning your vibrational frequency. And you can't perceive anything outside. In other words, it's really sort of a fruitless conversation for you to be discussing anything that is not your perception. Because no matter how many words we offer, we cannot bring you to any real clarity. It's your perception. So everything that we do, in all the books we write, in all the conversations we have, it's all about helping you to find a way to tune yourself vibrationally so that you can then have that perception. That's what's beginning to happen to Esther, because now that Jerry has made his transition, she is so interested in what he thinks and how he feels about the different things that she's involved in. And what she is discovering is that her ability to interact, as you said, with him is even greater now than it was before, because for two reasons. One is because of his transition, she has tuned herself more powerfully than she ever did before. Her desire to interact with him and understand what he is understanding is keener. And so she spent much more time focus wheeling, much more time reaching for the high-flying disc. She cares very much about being on that high-flying disc. We said to you earlier that you have 17 seconds before law of attraction brings another thought. And so if Esther finds herself on a thought that is not one that she wants to accentuate and add momentum to, she's catching herself early on and actually counting down 16, 15, 14. She said to a friend the other day, I have something to tell you and I only have 17 seconds to do it in. So listen up. In other words, she's really aware. She wants to maintain that frequency. And now that she's doing a better job of maintaining that frequency, she has more common, more chronic access to that broader perspective. The masters of your environment have always been about that. Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, which is really worth.
Okay. So that particular video is called Abraham Hicks, Proof of Manifestation Everywhere, The Law of Attraction Works, and that's off of a YouTube channel, We Are One TV. So that was part one. So let me go to the phone line 252, and then we're going to discuss a clip from that video. Okay, 252, your line is open.
Namaste, Goddess. How are you today? Or shall I say tonight?
I'm well. How are you, sis?
I'm good. I'm sitting back enjoying the show and taking in all this good information. And I just want to share an experience with y'all. I know you've seen some of the boxes that I do. My manifestation is a little bit different. I do these spiritual boxes for people that don't know. I get up every morning on Facebook. I put inspirational quotes for people. I put the I ams, and I do all this good stuff. But I had this one sister that reached out to me, and it really, really touched me. I made a box for her. I posted it yesterday. The box was called Nature in a Box. She called me and she said, Queen, everybody call me Queen. She said, Queen. She said, first she wanted a wolf spirit box. So I did that box for her. And she said, I need you to do me Nature in a Box. Now, mind you, she asked me to do this back in early March. I could not do this box. Could not do. I said, how the hell do you put nature in a box? How am I supposed to do this? So I went to sleep one night, and I envisioned this box. So I did the box. I showed her the box yesterday. Well, let me back up. I was working on the box yesterday. I said, something's missing from this box. Something's missing from this box. So I jump in my car. I go to Hobby Lobby. I'm walking around Hobby Lobby. I'm like, what am I supposed to put in this box? I had no clue what I went to Hobby Lobby for. I'm walking around, and I saw a butterfly. So I put this butterfly in the box. I heard my daughter say, Mom, you need to put a rattle in that box. I said, I'm not putting a rattle in the box. Now, my daughter has transitioned. She transitioned back in September of last year. I said, I'm not putting a rattle in the box. She was like, Mom, put a rattle in the box. I'm like, Shay, I'm not putting a rattle in the box. I showed the sister the box. She started crying. I said, why are you crying? I said, did I do something wrong? She was like, Queen. She said, you are so tapped in to people who are transitioned. She said, I'm about to show you something, tell you something that's going to blow you away. I said, what's wrong? She said, I had a granddaughter that passed away at the age of 4 months. We called her Butterfly. I got chills all over. I was like, so I had to go get that butterfly. But this is what really, my daughter told me to put a rattle in there. And I also put a bracelet. So the sister hit me up later, and she said, Queen, she said, you're not going to believe it. She said, I know you're busy, but can I have 5 minutes of your time? I said, I'm never too busy for you. What you need? She said, look at this picture. The bracelet, now you're on my Facebook page. I want you to go look at that box. I put a bracelet in that box. It was the exact same bracelet that baby had on when she was first born. The exact same bracelet. Blew me away. So my manifestation is when people who have transitioned want to reach out to their loved ones and let them know, I'm here. I'm still here for you. I didn't go nowhere because I didn't know anything about that baby. Nothing. I didn't know that she had lost the baby. I didn't know that they called the baby Butterfly. I had no clue. I knew then my daughter was like, put a rattle in there. And that's why she was telling me to put that rattle in there to let the family know that that little girl's energy is still with them. So that's the manifestation that I do. Every box that I do, every box that I have ever did, somebody in their family that has transitioned reach out to me and say, put this in the box. I'm like, why am I putting this in there? Just put it in the box. They'll know. And then they hit me and be like, well, how did you know to put this in the box? I'm like, well, your ancestors are speaking. Y'all need to tap in. So that's the manifestation I do. And a lot of my manifestation comes through my daughter. All I have to say is, I need. She's like, hold up, Mom. A few days ago, and then I'm going to get off the line. A few days ago, I went out there to start her car. Her car wouldn't start. And I was like, man, I said, a battery. I got to get a battery. She was like, Mom, I got you. That's all she said, I got you. That night, and Sean will tell you, because me and Sean talk all the time. That night, her ex-boyfriend came over the house, and he was like, I know I haven't been here. I just can't come to your house. I'm still not over her leaving. I don't understand. He put something in my hand. He said, here. I opened my hand, it was $100. That was the money to get the battery for her car. And she smoked weed. She was a straight, that child, every day. She was puff passing. He gave me some loud that was so loud, it had my whole house up like loud. And he said, I'm not into what you're into. He said, I know you make offerings to her. He said, so can you take this loud and put it on her altar and let her know that I love her? I said, you just told her. So all my manifestations is bringing, letting those of us that are living know that people that are transitioned, they still have the ability to work for you also. You know, I like when you said write it down. Most of my things everything comes from thought, but I go into what I call the dream world, and I see it there, and then I'm able to bring it back here and bring it into reality. And I no longer read books anymore. I stopped reading books because for me, when I read books, I'm getting other people's theories and all this stuff. But when I go sit in nature, when I put my bare feet in that grass, and when I hug them trees, I start hearing birds talking to me. The other day I was out, I work at Home Depot, and I was working on a grill, and this one bird said, "You better move." And I'm looking up, I'm like, "What?" He said, "I tell you what, don't move." And right after I moved, that bird pooped. So I'm so tapped into nature and the dogs. I could be walking down the street, the dog say, "Yo, shorty." I'm looking like, did that dog just say, "Yo, shorty"? So once you get to a certain level of consciousness, everything is just going to start opening up to you. You know, somebody said we live in a hologram. I don't think I live in a hologram. I mean, I understand what she was saying, but the things that I see, you know, and then I'm going to say one more thing and I'm going to go. I had to get that chain of thought again. But the things, my point was they said that, what did they say? Sean, what was I going to say? I talk so much, you got to forgive me. But they were about babies being the only ones that could see things. That's not true. Adults see things too. I remember being a black cat one of my lives. I remember being burnt at the stake, and I remember being a queen over a paradise, running a country. I remember those three specifically, especially a cat. So some of us still brought from those past lives the things that we did, and we remember. We didn't lose everything. Some people still do remember these past lives, and some of us still see a lot of things because I can see open portals. I see fairies and all this stuff that people tell you that you can't see. It just depends on how open you are to these things. And I just want to say, keep up the good work. I love your show. I'm going to be tuning in more. Even if I got to wake up to 2:30 in the morning to be to work the next day, I will definitely be here. I love you all. I truly do. And I have something for you, Goddess. I just need to inbox me your address. I got something for you.
Okay. All right. And I love you too, sis. I'm so glad that you found the show. I love your energy. And I actually and I didn't even know you and I are part of the same group because I actually posted one of your boxes on the Royal Bloodline. And because that's where I went to try to find the one that I posted. And that's when I saw that you had posted one yourself. So I didn't even know we were part of that group. But, yeah, absolutely. I'll inbox you my information. Okay. Love you, too. And, you know, as always, you have excellent insight because you are going on that spirit realm. And I'm so glad that you said that because Brother Sean said it tonight. I know I've said it in the past. That, you know, you bring stuff from that spirit realm, quote, quote, what folks call the dream realm, into the physical. I know when I manifest personally, I go to that realm, the dream world realm, higher realm, to bring into the physical what I am trying to accomplish. So I do that while I am conscious. Open up your portal or whatever, but this is just me because of the particular work that I have done to bring in what the reality I'm creating for me. And then, as Sis said, when you go to sleep, quote, quote, and you are traveling, astro projecting, you are also creating in that realm, and then you bring it over into the physical. So thank you for that confirmation as well, kind of reiterating some of the things that others have experienced as well.
My pleasure.
Okay, sis. Well, love you, and I'll hit you up in your inbox.
Okay.
Okay. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Okay, so it was great hearing from the sis. So once again, sis just came in to kind of reiterate when we were talking about making sure when you're calling out these names, these energies, these deities, demigods, why not call on your ancestors if you are looking for particular answers, if you are stuck, your ancestors that have passed on or whatever. And if you are in tune, even this video we just listened to, if you are in tune to a higher realm frequency, you're going to get the messages anyway. Literally, you're going to get specific messages about stuff that is either going to happen in the physical realm, or you just going to straight be having straight up discussions with your ancestors about a topic. And those of you that have experienced that, you know what the hell that I'm talking about. Okay? And all that means is you can look at it two ways, and it's really both ways. It's the metaphysics part of that is you are on the vibrational level of connecting to that realm. Okay, that's how you're able to get that particular information. Or whether or not you want to say that you are in the dream world or that you astral project. But the point of all of this is you have to consciously tune in to the frequency that you desire. So whether or not, you talking to grandma and them or creating what you want, it is a vibrational frequency that you have all the control to do. And it first starts with your thoughts. So I'm going to pause in case somebody wants to put on what Sis was just talking about, or if somebody wanted to put something on the information off of the video we just listened to.
Well, they both tied into one another because in the video she stressed to reach out to somebody that you know.
Yeah. That was powerful because you rarely hear people say that. And when I hear people say that, I say, okay, yep, this is good. Absolutely. That's exactly what she said. And she talked, and another powerful thing that I liked in that video, I kind of alluded to it when we were talking about the reprogramming of your thoughts. Okay, and I used the example of you're saying what you don't have. You're immediately supposed to change that up and put out what you're really trying to accomplish. Now, in this particular video, the lady gave a calculation. She said it takes 17 seconds to manifest, or I say tap into the law of attraction of what you're trying to create. Okay, so that just shows you, and if you want to go by her calculation, that just shows you how quick things happen. Okay, and she was saying the one particular lady, and I guess the lady started really, that she was referring to in that particular clip, had gotten so good at tapping into the laws of attraction with her 17-second rule that she could say what she needed to happen or she wanted to create, then she started counting it down. Okay, same thing when you are tapping into this law of attraction, when you are putting your thought out there, your intent out there, you are creating. Be very, very careful. Be precise. And if you do slip up and kind of put something out there that you don't want, you have to immediately reverse it back out, as we were talking about. Okay, so did anybody else have anything else they wanted to put on it? If not, I'm going to squeeze in the last little part of that Abraham Hicks video. I think they did an excellent job in that little clip. And shit, I just had it. So if anybody else have anything they want to put on it while I try to refine this video again, the second part that I
want
had.
to add.
Sure thing, sis. Go ahead.
I want to add that we as a people have to first bring ourselves into line with loving ourselves. Before we can create anything, we have to learn how to love ourselves so we can give out positive energy into the universe to bring the positive things to ourselves. And we can use our ancestors, but you got to love them too before you start using them to do things for you, and you got to trust them. And if we first, as the Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brethren, whatever things that are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, and whatsoever things are lovely, whatever things that are good, of good report, if there be any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. That's what we need to start meditating on as a people, the good things that are available to us to bring good things to ourselves and to love ourselves.
Absolutely. That's a great point because, again, that's still creating your reality, right?
Exactly.
So as you are putting out there to love yourself, that's creating your reality. As you're putting out there good thoughts, that's creating your reality. As the opposite, if you're just putting out there, well, I ain't shit, I ain't that, I don't have it, brother so-and-so have it, sister so-and-so have it, and I don't have it, then you're still, in essence, using the law of attraction and creating your own world. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
absolutely right, sis. Okay, I'm going to try to squeeze in, oh, doggone it. It just could be me, y'all. Okay, there it is. Here's the second part because I really dig what they were hitting in this. So this is the second part of Abraham Hicks' video proof of manifestation, the law of attraction works. So here we go.
Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, which is really worth reading again now that you are understanding vibration, was talking about the mastermind. And Esther is beginning to discover that if she can get someone to dialogue with her, and they can stay on this high-flying disc, which means they stay mostly in generalities, not talking about any details of life experience, but mostly in generalities, what happens is, as they stay there for a little while, both of them become tuned to one another's mind. It's like another mind that they've tapped into is now thinking with them, and the satisfying feeling of thinking with that broader perspective. You have never been individuals. You just thought that you were. And the reason that you thought that you were is because so many people were trying to control you because they needed your compliance with what they thought was a good way for you to live so that they can feel good, that they set forth all kinds of rules and laws, and in the process of doing that, and in your process of trying to please them and align with what they wanted rather than tune to your high frequency, you lost your connection in many cases. And so most people are sort of just banging around mere shadows of the consciousness that you really are. But when you begin tuning to the consciousness that you really are, you begin discovering that you've never been singular, ever, 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 ever. And anytime you felt alone or lonely or lost or confused, it was only because you pinched yourself off from the frequency of the mastermind. Not a mind that is masterfully trying to control you, but this consciousness that knows all things. And when you tune into that, you know what road to take. You know where to put your foot down. You know how to uplift this person when you open your mouth. You know what route to take in a place that you don't even really understand. You find impulses within you that are just pleasurable, pleasurable, pleasurable. You can never have an unhappy journey to a happy destination. If you're having a miserable time along the way, when you get to wherever you're going, it's going to be miserable when you get there. That's a sign, you see. But when you're feeling good, when it's fun, when you're clear-minded, when you're feeling frisky, when you want to go, when you're just full of yourself, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, when you feel like that, that's when you know you've managed to find that frequency, and now that broader perspective is helping you out. Jerry and Esther live in San Antonio. Jerry lived there, now he's everywhere. For a few years ago, they were out in the part of the city where they are living in a little place known as Bernie. And they went to the post office, and they couldn't get in. The roads were flooded. The Cibolo Creek had overrun its banks. It had been raining, and they hightailed it home because the roads were becoming more and more flooded. And they stayed on enough high ground until they got to high ground where they live. And they called a friend of theirs who lives in San Antonio. They have 1,000 acres. They have cattle and machinery and all kinds of farm equipment in San Antonio. And they said the Cibolo is outside of its banks. It's just flooding the post office in Bernie. And their friend said, thank you very much. And they were able to open some gates and move some cattle and get some equipment out of some fields. And they called back a few hours later as the Cibolo overran their pastures. And they said, it's so nice to have a friend upstream. And we want you to understand the friend that you've got in that high-flying place, who knows everything that you are and all that you want and what the path of least resistance to help you get from where you want to be to where it is. And we want you to understand that the path of least resistance isn't the shortest path, it's the most joyful path. It's the most interesting path. It's the most fun path. It's the path. But
by definition, because that's what you're created to tune into. I mean, and it might not be the same for me as someone else, I guess. What you're saying is that the emotions that you feel that give you that feeling are your connection to non-physical. And does that also mean that non-physical has its basis in emotion?
Well,
and that's why you are
that's
able to
a nice way to say that, because we don't speak words, we offer vibration, and vibration of alignment really does produce emotion, and that's why that which is source is, by your standards, the emotion of love. But few humans have the capacity yet, because you haven't practiced it consistently enough, and consistent is the word that we want to keep introducing here, because momentum equals consistency, and focus equals momentum equals consistency equals state of being.
That's the word of the day, isn't
and
it?
So
momentum.
But you must focus yourself into that momentum, and the way you feel is the way you know how you're focused. So often, it's interesting, you'll be in a conversation and someone will say something that will trigger something in your mind, and so they're talking about a city or an experience or a place, and so often you engage on that level. But when you begin tuning to your frequency, caring about how you feel, paying attention to what you do and what you think, paying attention to the people that you even think about, Esther's finding herself selectively sifting everything about past experience, because there are minefields everywhere. In other words, there are things that she can think about that will take her off her high-flying disc immediately, and 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, she's counting herself down from that, not wanting to lose her momentum. And so as you begin really caring about how you feel, and you can accomplish that in this environment with all of this majesty around you, with all of this beauty around you, with all of this high-flying energy around you, this is really a good opportunity for you to tune yourself to the frequency of who you really are. In the beginning, as we began playing with you years ago, we said to you that meditation is the way to tune yourself, or to make yourself aware of your tuning, because when you quiet your mind, you stop thought, and when you stop thought, you stop resistance, and when you stop resistance, your vibration just naturally rises. And so as your vibration is rising, 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 and you begin to feel what that feels like, then you become unwilling to allow thoughts to get going that diminish that feeling of well-being. Esther said to a friend the other day, I'm afraid I'm becoming a vibrational snob, because there are so many things that I don't want to talk about anymore, because I know what talking about that leads to. And so as you care infinitely and ultimately, mostly, about how you feel, it all sorts itself out in a really wonderful way. Now, there's something left undone there. What is it?
I think it's still that connection between the sense of I am, the sense of the consciousness that you are.
You're not ever going to feel like I am. You're not ever going to feel that unless you are. In other words, it really is that high-flying disc and maintaining it consistently. It's a state of being, because what a perfect word, because when you are in that frequency, then you are vibrationally aligned with all that is. I
think the harder part is to understand how we ever mistake ourselves for not being it.
Well,
when it's your
it doesn't
basis.
matter, because here's why. You said, I'll go forth and I'll sift and sort, and I'll discover things that I want. And so in the discovery of something that is beyond, in other words, feel how it feels to be completely satisfied. You all think that you want that. Oh, won't it be nice when I have everything that I want? No, you'll really be dead, and there's not that kind of dead. Wouldn't it be nice to have everything that I want? And what you're really saying, the discord that you're really feeling is, to desire something that I'm not vibrationally up to speed with causes resistance in my vibrational countenance that is uncomfortable. So the key is to figure out how to not introduce that resistance even though it hasn't manifested yet, because it's the resistance that you don't want. It's the alignment, the feeling of alignment that you do want. So that's what we were getting at, and you were getting at it also, is that everything that you want, whether it's a material object or a state of being or a relationship or a pile of money, a circumstance and an event, anything that you want or anything that anyone wants or has ever wanted or ever will want, is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. So once you figure out how to tune yourself to that frequency that feels good, that's why we start every seminar in that way. Do you know what you want? Do you know what you want? Are you okay with knowing it, even though it hasn't manifested or demonstrated itself to you? Because once you reach that place that you don't need the actualization of it, because the alignment with it feels so satisfying to you, now two things happen. First, you feel good all the time, and next, everything that you want flows easily into your experience until you begin talking about demanifesting. I've got more clutter around me than I need. Most people are trying to fill the void of not being in alignment with stuff.
What would happen if you manifested the desire to have no desires?
That is the screwiest question that we've ever heard. Because it defies all of the laws of the universe. In other words, it's not possible for you to be a focused being. Even one-celled organisms have desires.
What's funny is that, like in Eastern thought, there's some of these supposed gurus that say stuff like that, and they're saying, you know, in the desirelessness, your true self arises, and that's the only way to...
In the what? In the what?
Desirelessness.
Well, what they're talking about is not desirelessness, it's wantinglessness. It's discord with desire that they're talking about. Because when you say, I desire something, there's an implication that there's something unfinished that is wanted. And we want you to understand that there will always be that which is unfinished that is wanted. But when you're in alignment with where you are, satisfied with what is and eager for more is the idyllic situation. Let's chew over this just a little bit more. Desirelessness.
Yeah, it's...
So you're saying
it's tempting to look, because you start to look in there and you start to feel this. You're trying to look into consciousness and see where your own consciousness comes from, whether the sense of I am or this, and you're going to have to drop part of that perceiver, perception, perceived dynamic in order to try to reflect back to yourself. Is that where we're getting mixed up? Yeah.
Hear this. We know there are a lot of people that have said a lot of things. There are endless religions, and since words don't teach is a very good thing, show yourself this. Just try this for a little while and see what it feels like. You've already done it, so you'll understand this completely, what we're talking about. So, do you accept that you are living in a vibrational universe? And does it sort of kind of make sense that you are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe? And have you accepted yet that your emotions really are an indicator? Have you had enough trial and error experience to show yourself that when you're in alignment with who you are, you feel great, and when you're not, you don't? Have you shown yourself that? So if you've come that far, then you can take it all the way, because now all that you have to do is acknowledge that source energy is on your side and in your vortex. And so life's going to constantly cause you to ask for something, and as you care mostly about how you feel, so you decide, all right, Abraham, I'll play your silly game. I'm going to go to bed tonight, and I'm going to acknowledge that while I sleep, my momentum will stop, because my point of attraction isn't active when my mind isn't active. So when I awaken in the morning, I'm going to acknowledge that I'm awake, and I'm going to acknowledge that I'm in a good place, that I'm on a high-flying disc. And I'm going to watch those early thoughts that come. In other words, you can't start yelling at your kids right away, and you can't start worrying about what traffic's going to be like, and don't bring the problem that you had yesterday into today and think about it. Try to let this be a fresh start, like pushing the reset button. And then do that for a few days until you're showing yourself that you can control your mood because you care about your mood by directing your thoughts into good-feeling thoughts, into good-feeling things, as general as you can about things that you feel good about. And then begin watching how everything begins to respond to you in a different way. And as you play this game more and more and more, your clarity, it's the momentum of it. In other words, everyone can have a high moment. You can listen to a song, it'll take you right up there, and the next minute you're yelling at your kids again. It's the up and down, up and down, up and down that keeps you from gathering the momentum that we're really talking about. But when you get on that high-flying disc and you stay there deliberately, and then you get on that high-flying disc and you stay there deliberately until you've maintained it enough that through most of the day you're feeling good, and then through most of the next day you're feeling good, and through most of the next day you're feeling good, not worried about slipping from your disc because there's always another day. Esther said to us, Abraham, I refuse to accept that I have to wait all the way until tomorrow morning to get back on my disc when I fall off. You've given us books full of tools. I'm going to use them. So she gets out her focus wheel. She focuses herself back into alignment, or finds some way of bringing herself to a place of feeling better. You get so that you care about the way you feel. So as you maintain this more and more consistently, what begins to happen is you begin to feel the alignment that you have with that broader perspective. And your sensation of clarity just goes through the roof. Suddenly you know things that you have no logical reason to know. You just intuitively are moving in the right direction. You find yourself just rendezvousing with things that matter to you. It feels like a magical state of being. It's not magical. It's the way you are meant to feel. So your question is, how did so many of us get so far from that? And we say, because you came into an environment deliberately wanting to sift through the variety in order to define what you want. If you have not been the one who has defined what you want, then there can be no satisfaction in the coming into alignment with it or in the realization of it, you see. You are the creator of your own reality. And when you become that hands in the clay, deliberate creator of your own reality, where you think a thought and you recognize that it's causing a diminishment in the way you feel, so you change it, you augment it, you abridge it, you add to it, you amend it, you deliberately define it, and then you feel the ease within you as you come into alignment, and with that ease then comes clarity. Once you begin becoming a master of this energy alignment, and we are knowing that that's the reason that you've traveled so far to play with us under these conditions. You are the masters of this. You are the ones most logical and most likely to tune yourself to these frequencies and maintain that alignment so that you're walking around in clarity, seeing through the eyes of Source, feeling good about things, being the influencer that uplifts, walking among those who may not understand it, not following them with your empathetic thoughts, not letting them control the vibration of you, garnering the momentum, the energy that creates worlds is a huge momentum that you have at your back. She says, it feels like I've got this wave at my back. It feels like all things that are necessary are at my back, and all I have to do is focus myself in the direction of something, and that energy comes forth and the clarity comes. Not somebody doing it for her. That's not fun. You want to define it. You want to find it. You want to find the nuggets. You want to find the nugget, and then you want to align with the energy that provides the avenue, the path for the fulfillment of it. Deliberate creation in physical time, space, reality. It's the best of all worlds, and it's why not only you are here, it's why all of us are here as well, you see. And anything less than that is unacceptable to you and completely unnecessary. And it's from sloppy, unpracticed thinking. You will never again feel negative emotion and not know what it means. Right now, I'm focused in a way that is so far apart from who I really am and what I really want that I'm experiencing this visceral feeling of disconnection is too strong a word, but I'm pinching myself off. Pinching myself off from what? From clarity of the path. What else? From the feeling of the energy. What does that mean? That means your physical body is not experiencing all of the benefit that it could. That means anybody in your surroundings is not benefiting in the way that they could. Upliftment, true upliftment, is tuning to that frequency and maintaining it consistently enough that when somebody else, which is most everybody else, sort of stumbles accidentally into a higher frequency, you're there ready to rendezvous with them. That's when your teaching moment is. This is a room full of teachers and healers. You're wanting so much to be of value to others. And unless you're on the high-flying disc, you just can't be. And if you're on the high-flying disc and they aren't, one of two things has to happen for you to even communicate at all. They got to come up or you got to come down. And so often, you are well-meaning, you join them on the lower disc, and then you feel the void of not being able to assist them, you say. Really good conversation.
Thank you.
Okay, family. So that was the second part of the Abraham Hicks Proof of Manifestations Everywhere, the Law of Attraction Works, and that was off of the YouTube channel We Are One TV. Let me open back up, Brother Wendell. Okay, so we do, before I let the family panel chop it up, we do have a call that's been holding 702, so let me bring them in. 702, your line is open. 702. Okay, I know you held a long time. I'll give you one last chance. I'm not sure if you threw your hand up by mistake or what. 702. Okay, all right, beloved. I'm putting you back on mute. Okay, all righty. Did anybody have any thoughts on that? The last part of that excerpt.
Well, it seemed like
Brother.
she pretty much summed up our entire call.
Yeah, that's why I loved that video, and I'm glad we got it all out. But I just wanted to put another perspective in front of the family. But absolutely, I think that she did an excellent job in just once again reiterating that, you have to, create what you want. You do it with the thoughts, and it's basically all energy/vibration. Now, one of the most powerful things that she said was that, and we kind of talked about this earlier, about trying to save people, this, that, and the third. And she said that if you're on one vibrational level, they're on another vibrational level, and you calling yourself saving them, she said one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to come up to a higher vibration to meet you where you are, and you can work as a collective, or you're going to go down to their vibrational level, calling yourself helping them, when in essence you cannot do that at that particular level, because that is not the frequency where you need to be to make things happen. So I loved how she brought that out, because we talked about that consistently, and it's basically in a nutshell what Brother Panic was talking about in his video. Save your own self, meaning you are responsible. You work up to where you need to be to tap into what frequency resonates with you. And those that you are supposed to build with on the collective level, they are going to be on that frequency. Okay, and I think with us as melanated people, we're trying to hoard in or bring in everyone, and which is why nothing gets done. It's impossible, because we're all on different frequencies, different vibrations. You're responsible for your level of vibration and frequency on where you need to be. And once you are tuned into that particular frequency that resonates with you, you tune in to the other people on that particular frequency, and you can build that way collectively. So I also love what she said about that. That was a pretty powerful thing as well.
Mhm. Agreed.
Okay. So the only thing that I know we're wrapping up here. We only have 10 minutes later. I just want to reiterate again, because I want to leave the family with the whole thing. We went over the definition of manifestation. Every time you hear manifestation, know that the metaphysics behind it is the law of attraction. Okay? So meaning it's clear or obvious to the mind. It's also display or show a quality or feeling. Okay, so some of the keys to the laws of manifestation or the laws of attraction are your thoughts, your intentions behind your thoughts. And I'm going to add, and I wrote all of this, by the way, when I was in my zone. Reprogramming your consciousness / subconsciousness for your benefit. Okay, and I'm going to add to that, realizing that you are the creator, you are the owner of your own consciousness programming or your consciousness period. The other key to using the laws of attraction / manifestation, write it, speak it, visualize it. Be specific. Be repetitive. And also realize that really everything that you, quote, desire, you already have it. You are just simply creating it, bringing it from one realm, a higher realm, into this physical realm. And then also just keep in mind that you don't have to call on anybody outside of yourself. But when you do need guidance, instead of calling on these demigods, energies, call on your ancestors, your direct ancestors that have transitioned for guidance. Okay. So those are some of the things that I definitely wanted to reiterate with the family. Now, I know one sister, she has her own show. I'm really fond of her. She has a show called the Don Nicoleone Show on Blog Talk. It comes on like every day during the week at noon. And a part of her intro, she uses the phrase, "You are a part of the all, and the all is within you." Okay, and I just always so loved that particular phrase that she puts in one of her intros, because when we talk about that all, that is that higher realm. That is that essence of everything. That is the source of the power that you're supposed to be tuning into, tapping into, to ultimately create what you want. So I did want to leave that with the family. I am going to let Sis, did you have any last thoughts or words for the family?
Not really. I just want to, the lady that called in, I just want to say that before she said butterfly, the butterfly popped in my head just for her affirmation of that. And, of course, she got it from the lady, too. But, we have to start with self, to make self perfect to get to the self that we're supposed to be. And so that's all I want to say. We got to start with self to get where we need to go.
Absolutely, absolutely, sis. And thank you for joining us. Brother Sean, did you have any last words for the family?
Yeah. I hope that y'all didn't tune in expecting to get rituals or chants or, these specific phrases laid out for you. There's always been and always will be on this call. You're going to be told to go within.
Yep.
None of us is trying to lead you anywhere. We're not trying to convince y'all or nothing. Y'all have to do the work. We're just providing the information that we come across.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. Brother Wendell, you have any last words for the family?
I think there's been a mistake of thinking that somebody is trying to save somebody. It's just like if you can picture in your mind an alternator. That alternator spins and it has a magnet in it. Just like any electric motor has a magnet in it and it has a wire cord around it.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere within this alternator in this universe is some broken wires.
Interesting.
We're already one. We just got some broken wires. And those broken wires have to figure out how to mend themselves. Just keep that in mind.
Very good analogy.
And keep your search engine going.
Absolutely. Very, very, very well said. And I love the analogy of the alternator, although you taught me what the hell an alternator is, but now you taught me. So he just reiterated that phrase, I am the all and the all is within me. So you got the all, you being the alternator, but your little wire is charged being connected to the ultimate all source. So very, very, very good analogy, Brother Wendell. Very good analogy. Okay, family, so I do want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Next week, we will have, who's scheduled to join us is Brother Morris Donaldson. Now, if you don't know his work, this is the opportunity. Go on YouTube. He has a bunch of stuff out there. Google his name. Brother Morris gets into a lot of stuff. He gets on the metaphysics side. He also heavily talks on the galactic side. So I'm really, really looking forward to him joining us next week. So he will be a guest with us next week. So we will be back here next week with special guest Morris Donaldson. So with that said, family, we're going to sign off. I want to say truth, love, peace, freedom, and justice. One heart, one mind, and one spirit. And then I'm going to rock out with some Dead Prez, Time Travel. Love you very much, family. Peace and love.
Love you too.